Oh, I've decided I need a haircut. But from what I hear, I won't be at this place in this week's episode, which is called... Good grief. The Story and the Engine. Are you all mad?
Doctor Who is saved! The ratings go up! Yippee!
Hooray!
Everybody celebrate as most of Fandom have been doing... What? Sorry, what? Oh, it's not that much, apparently. But there you go, everybody. Yes, yeah, you would think from what's been going on in Fandom today that the thing had scored 7 to 9 million overnight, wouldn't you? But no, it's gone up slightly, is the reality of this on the overnight figure, to 1.59 million. It is nothing to write home about. It's nothing. Hello everybody, it's Who's Views Reviews. It's it's your Sunday night big review show. Where else would you be? Because there's nothing on the telly, I can tell you. It's the 11th of May. There was nothing on the telly last night, actually, frankly, either. It's the 11th of May 2025. As you can see, I'm here with Dr. Ian, with Kirsty, with Emilio, Timely, Victorious, and Paul. What WTF was that about? We're going to be looking at more of that, everybody. How you doing, guys? Have you got over this yet?
No.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it's The Story and the Engine. Another ridiculous title for an equally ridiculous episode. I have to say as well, guys, what nonsense in Fandom today. Absolute nonsense. We've seen Fandom ripping each other to shreds again. This was like the Whittaker era all over again, with some very, very overprotected, incredibly, in my eyes, misguided idiots deciding to say ist and ot to anybody that dare criticize this particular episode. And we all know why. I just don't get it. I mean, why are they doing this? Why should it be? Because it's an all-black cast and a black director and a black writer. Why should it be above criticism?
It shouldn't, because it's a form of entertainment. All art is open to criticism. So whether it's black, white, Chinese, whatever happens to be, whatever ethnicity happens to be, it's open to criticism. So tough, you know?
Kirsty, you're on mute, darling. There you go. There you are.
We were also talking about this at my work today, that we live in a world where we're not allowed to have a difference of opinion anymore.
Yeah.
So that needs to come back and come back fast. Also, if people watching this, if you've been on social media today, because it is, I agree with JT, being absolutely foul and disgusting today, that they are throwing slurs around, and we're not the problem. There is actual racism and homophobia and xenophobia in the world, and they're taking away the meaning of that name of people who are actually like that. And you have to remember, if you like this episode, we're happy for you. Well, you're more welcome to stay here and tell us why you enjoyed this show.
Absolutely.
But having that, we miss that as nerds and that kind of geeky thing of just chat about, did you see this? Did you see that? And nowadays, if you don't like it, they want you dead or they want you gone and hurt, which is just disgusting. So remember, if you like this and you're championing it on Facebook and people are slagging you off for liking it, just remember you're allowed to like it. Just leave them be. And if you didn't like it and you're saying why you didn't like it and people are calling you boomers and ists and popes, rise above it. It's not worth it. And one day they will click and it'll go back to, or it'll probably never go back to how it was. It will change that we're allowed to just be nerds and just chat again. But it's absolutely disgusting, and it's only going to get worse as the rest of this season finishes.
I really hope you're right there, and I hope it does go back. We are seeing breaks with this, and I think this is why there's an awful lot of anger around everybody, because, you know, like it or not, things are changing, and they're so desperate to stay on their line, aren't they? But let's face it, this was, and I'm going to say it for myself and not for the panel, this was a DEI episode. It was absolutely down to the BBC's obsession and alleged entertainment industry and show business's obsession with DEI. That's all this was. For me, it was nonsense. It was totally uncalled for what happened in this episode last night. I thought it was totally boring.
Even if it wasn't that, JT, it was the most boring episode I've ever seen. I was stupid enough to watch it twice because I didn't get it at all. I couldn't work it out. Couldn't understand. I thought, is it me? So I watched it again, and I was even less engaged than I was the second time than I was the first time. So it was like incredible. I just felt this was awful, you know? So I don't understand it. I love Ghostlight. That's a complicated story, but I do enjoy it, and it's still Doctor Who. But this wasn't anywhere near Doctor Who, and I didn't understand. If someone can explain to me what was going on there, that'd be lovely, because I'm a bit thick, obviously.
I can tell you about that later on. But, you know, thank you. It's great. Terrified Monk saying to us, granted, I think it was crap, but I do believe the format of this show cannot work with 45-minute episodes anymore. Totally agree with that, as you will all know if you're long-term viewers here. And Legion of Jacob, the only is were the anti-white creators of this episode and the blatantly biased anti-white rhetoric shoehorned in with no real point. David B is agreeing with you, Paul. It was catamistically boring. So hello to everybody that's joining us. I want to ask you all, though, because I found it totally boring. What the hell was I watching?
Soap opera.
I again, what was it? What was I watching, everybody? Because it wasn't Doctor Who in any way, shape, or form. The Doctor wasn't in it again because he is rubbish. He is not the Doctor. He hasn't grasped it. Partly his fault, partly RTD's, as we know. But this was just awful. The lines, the dialogue, I'm sure we're going to be coming to that in the show. Awful. But the whole feel of this episode, I mean, I was bored as well. I felt it. I will not watch it again. Never. But what was the story about? Between ridiculous accents, no offense, but I didn't understand a bloody word they were saying, and mumbling from the actors, I couldn't hear anything. I don't know what was going on. Discuss.
The thing about it I didn't get was that a lot of it didn't make any sense. The guy who was the kind of bad barber, the evil barber, I can't believe I'm saying that in the same sentence, an evil barber. Anyway, so was he originally human and then he became immortal, or was always, I don't understand how he had the power to create what he created and had the two spaces, one in Lagos and one in space, the barber shop in two locations, all that. That didn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
It wasn't explained, Paul.
Well, but
it was just like, he can suddenly just build this like web matrix thing, and honestly, it's just a load of gibberish, rubbish. Basically, it's just trash. It was, even if you have subtitles on, you still couldn't even understand what was going on.
Oh, I wish I thought of that. That might help, because I'm sitting there going, what? Well,
I was hoping to get closure on Unleashed, and that didn't help either. Honestly, that's let me down. Yeah.
I had subtitles when I was watching it, and I honestly couldn't understand it. And like you, Paul, I got to the 25-minute mark, and I actually was so tempted to just turn it off. I was the same. Didn't feel like a Doctor Who episode. Was incredibly boring, and not even that. The whole purpose of that episode was to basically, I would say actually a racist episode, because it was trying to force the message that you can only relate and connect with people that look like you, which is the most racist thing, in my opinion, that you could say, because we can all relate to various different people because it's meant to be about your personalities, your character, not the color of your skin or your sexuality or whatever. So it's such of that was such a reductive take, and to basically try and the writer to force his own worldview, basically try on Doctor Who, and basically say that the Doctor needs to, like to hang out with these guys because they look like him. He's a bloody alien, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? It's just that's honestly what the whole story, in my opinion, was about. Not to say that there weren't maybe there's an idea around stories being power and almost like it can basically fuel or be some form of engine, let's say. There's something there, but apart from that, yeah, I was bitterly angry.
Can I ask
And
another
that's not even
question?
including the fugitive doctor that showed up, and I hate the timeless children. Honestly,
Yeah, was that the timeless child, the little kid, or was that Space Baby back again, Poppy?
Well, that's the rumor, isn't it? That it's
Yeah.
Poppy.
It's like, why is Poppy back, for Christ's sake? She was a
Kirsty,
really popular character, wasn't she? Let's be honest.
You saw this on social media as well, didn't you, Kirst? That was apparently Poppy, and it ties in with what an interview with Anita Dobson over the last couple of days, who said that the usual. Russell T.D. is very clever because she first read Space Babies and she went, "What the hell is this about?" And then in the end episodes, the Space Babies come back or something. There's something to keep you up with nightmares for the next couple of weeks, isn't it?
They're crying out for a return, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Oh yes, classic return. Space Babies and Sutek.
Yeah.
Digby, thank you for your super. Go on, Kirst.
I think it's the actress as well, the actual wee girl that played Poppy. It's her as well. So I think it might be misconstrued that people are thinking Poppy's coming back, but that's also the rumor. Poppy.
She's the timeless child, isn't she? That's coming back. It really
I'm
is.
getting a headache already. Stay with us through this. We've got a big show coming for you. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about with this crap episode that was screened last night on BBC One of all things. BBC One. We'll come to them in a short time, shall we? Digby. Hello, Digby. Lovely to see you. Thank you for your super chat. The Doctor is ancient, is highly evolved, and visited the universe, but turns out his favorite type of human comes from one place on one planet. The Doctor is now no better than a Dalek.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to have to investigate the hypocrisy in this episode as it goes from there to there, and it's Matthew is with us. Matthew Pounder, hello, and I noticed this, of course. Matthew, being gay is a prisonable offence in Nigeria. Again, turning a blind eye, because they're going to be turning a blind eye to the homophobic author of the next episode, aren't they? Martin Brown is with us. Hi, gang. It was like watching an episode of Desmond's, the old Channel 4 sitcom. The difference being, Martin, I quite like Desmond's.
Desmond was funny. Yeah,
It was
there's
brilliant.
not a joke in this episode at all.
Yeah, I know. With Desmond's as well back then, because some of us were trying to be actors and stuff back in the day, and we all wanted to be in Desmond's. Everybody wanted to be in Desmond's. It was like a cult comedy thing as well at the time. And Carwin's with us, guys, saying, "I have completely given up on this show now." You're not the only one. I really don't care if I see the real everything at the end of this run. Gatwa is just Gatwa and not the Doctor. I just don't see it. And our John's saying, well, there wasn't much diversity in it, though. The least diverse episode imaginable. But it's positive discrimination, so they get away with it. And Gary, Under the Rainbow Manson. Good to see you, Gary. I'll sing to you if you like. Oh, no. Right. I don't even know what to call that episode other than that crap.
Yeah.
Call it what you like.
You can't sing, you got a copyright strike, won't you?
Oh, yeah, I forget. Oh, it's awful.
What a relief that was. Yeah.
How very dare you? Mark S is saying, I've been watching since 1982, and I can honestly say I haven't been as bored when watching a new episode as I was last night. Mark S. See, when we get back to looking at reviews of proper Doctor Who, they're all getting a 10 from me, including Time Flight, because I would watch anything. There is not a bad story from the original Doctor Who to compare to this nonsense last night, Space Babies or The Devil's Board.
Well, even Orphan 55 from the Whittaker era is better than this nonsense, honestly.
Get in the corner. You.
No, really, I'm saying that now, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. Good God, that shows how bad it was, honestly.
Graham's with us saying, I don't watch this rubbish anymore, but this particular episode seems to be attracting some major negative comments on Twitter, I see. It's very much... it's not the Marmite situation in that sense. It's that camp or that camp, and one camp doesn't like the other camp. It's been horrible today, horrible. And Aaron is saying to us, I was surprised the overnight ratings were not lower. I haven't watched this or last week's. Aaron, you're not missing much. That's all I'm going to say. And Jane Smee, hello. Actually, I didn't mind it. Sure, it was hokum, but it did have a creepy build-up. I missed that, Jane. Sorry. I actually liked having an episode set in a different culture, but why couldn't they do it on an alien planet with aliens? Snake Dance. Yeah. That's a nice one to look at because there's an alien culture based loosely on an Earth one. That's how you do it in science fiction, I would say. Not actually beam right into it and make it all. Do you know what I'm saying? Lots of you in the chat with us about digital pollution. Philip, those calling us racist, they are the racists. Well, yes. Lee Smith is saying contrived bollocks. That's a very Ian thing to say, I think.
Yeah.
We've got Digby again. Thank you for your super chat. The Doctor. Oh, I've had that one, haven't I? Thank you for that one. Thank you. We've had that one. Thank you. We've got some more coming in as well. David Shaw. It's about a barbershop. A very disappointed episode. David, do you know what, David? I'm going to say to you in particular, I'm so sorry you were disappointed, because David is desperately wanting to like this, aren't you, David? And he loves Doctor Who like we all do. So, David, you're in the right play with us. I tried to watch it, turned it off after about 15 minutes. I'm done, says Digital Pollution. The Lady Knightsbridge is with us, guys. Oh, gosh, look at this. I'll be amazed if the viewing figures didn't fall away after the first 10 minutes or so. It was awful.
Honestly, this has really put me off. If we having to review the next 3 episodes, I would stop watching it. Honestly, it's just.
Oh, I've got a week off. I can't wait.
That's you.
Kirk Stacey also saying, I had no clue what last night's episode was about, and yet they had another roll call of past Doctor Who heads. How many times have they done that now? It's not the same show. It's crap. Smiley people, dreadful and muddled, so boring. It was stilted, and it's only useful to get to sleep to. That is a good one. Oh, well, look at all this. It's great to see you all. I only managed 5 to 10 minutes. I was so bored I couldn't watch anymore, says Wild Hunter. Oh, for goodness me. Can I make a comment, Kev? I found it hard to follow due to mumbling, and the music was distracting. The music was distracting. Even I noticed that bloody music yesterday. It was trying too hard to be African. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was bloody awful. Philip Roy is saying to us, they committed the unforgivable TV sin of it being boring. It was all tell, don't show, when the reverse is the aim. I paused 20 minutes in to see how much more I had to sit through.
Yeah, I did that twice. Yeah.
I can't believe you sat through that twice.
Yeah. No, but I paused it. I kept pausing and trying. What was that? I missed that. And yeah, I just thought I'd give it a chance.
You boosted the ratings, Paul.
I know. No, I didn't. I watched it the following day, so I won't count till next week. It's fine. But the
yeah,
I actually felt
it's still joining the other side, isn't it?
Yeah. No. I tried to give it the benefit.
Yeah, you see, you try to dig yourself out, but it's not going to work.
No, it was still
it's not going to work.
And honestly, it didn't make any better. Honestly,
he's struggling, Kirst, isn't he? He's struggling.
I told him to watch Tell the Autons tonight instead on You Needed It. That was better.
I've done something very unusual in that I've held my tongue for over 15 minutes. I wanted to hear the other views. I got to say I really enjoyed this, but that would be a bloody lie. I thought it was an absolute pile of contrived racist toss. And I think it was a television obscenity, really. It was. I know there's white people that live in that country. Where was the representation? We have to have it here in everything. Even if we have a historical drama, we have to show some of the crowned heads of this country now portrayed by black people. So, where was the representation there? There was none. But you've got a bad guy who's black, but for some reason this guy wasn't reduced to a pile of jizz and swept up by a cleaner. For some reason he had a redemption arc where he was given a barber shop and he went off to live a happy life. He was a bad guy. The last one white guy who was a bad guy was told he would burn to ash by the age of 49 and consequently verbally spank the doctor's ass anyway, not in a way that he would like. And the other one was reduced to his constituent DNA and swept up by a robot whilst the doctor laughed at a basic abortion. But here you've got a black guy that's a baddie and it's okay. That's bizarre in itself. And once again, after this, RTD spouted about how this was all a reset with Gatwa and you didn't need any knowledge of the classic story. And I know I harp on about this week on week on week, but yet again, it's shoehorning in just about every single doctor in this one was referenced or on screen or flashed out. The first thing he says is Daleks, Cybermen, Ice Warriors. Why are you talking about them? You're never going to meet them. They're problematic. The little darlings that you're aiming this at wouldn't be able to cope with a proper Dalek story or a Cyberman story. Yeah. Not that they're scary anymore because they were done to death in this incarnation of the series. But this was awful. And if I'd seen some people posting before I'd watched it, and one person said, I can't understand how nobody can enjoy this, and if they don't, they're just racists. And I thought, you are an intellectual pygmy.
I saw that
if
one
you
as well.
think there is no other reason that you can't enjoy this except for you're wearing a big white hood, carrying a flaming torch, and you're going to try and hang some people. No, there are other reasons as well. One being it was shit. Two, it was a really crap script. It was badly acted. It was badly directed. It was badly performed. It was badly brought to the screen. The music was awful. The voices were mumbling, as has been said already, and it was just obscene.
Let me hold that thought, because I need to get to these super chats, because what happens on this platform is I have a timer to read them. That's why I'm missing them. And if the timer runs out, I'm missing them. So Sean Kesey, thank you for your super chat. Evening, guys. Andor Series 2 has shown what can be done, but for some reason, showrunners like RTD are stuck in their arrogant the message ways. Mark Milford, thank you for your super chat. I love this episode of British Society of Magical Nigerians. Shame it wasn't Doctor Who. To Mark Greaves, thank you for your super chat. But does that mean Desmond's was on the back of a giant spider? RTD has now ruined 2 classic shows in one fell swoop. We had one from Heretic as well. Problem being, where was the authentic 14-year sentences for gays in this one? Absolutely, or worse, as we know. Thank you for your super chat. And Heretic, thank you for your super chat. RTD said we cannot have this episode without the fugitive, as she exists and we have to acknowledge her. He apparently also confirmed pre-Hartnell exists. No, he is wrong, and what he says doesn't go anymore because he's an utter loon.
Can I just question that? Where did he say that? Because I didn't see that. Where did he say that? Do we know?
Yep. Let us know, Heretic, if you've seen that. Legion of James saying to us, desperation showed in the proper Doctor flashes, and as for not the Dr. Joe Martin, that was ridiculously expected. It was, in a sense, wasn't it? Because you just knew that, it was in the back of my, I wonder if they get that one in. And she was at the premiere, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Can I just interject with the flashbacks with all the doctors? It says this is really bad, but it did make me chuckle. It was an absolute Judas of a photo of Jodie in the TV screen. Her face was stretched.
Yeah.
Everyone else had like a decent shot, but her eyebrows were like up here, and she looked like a Snapchat filter. I was like, thank you.
She made Capaldi's eyebrows look like he'd been shaved, didn't she? I mean, they were like,
Well, the thing about the flashbacks for me, normally I get the
Warren grubs on her head.
Go on, Ian. Paul.
Sorry, Paul.
With the flashback sequences, normally when that happens, I get, yay, it's exciting. But even that bored me to death because it's been done to death.
There's too many.
And even when Capaldi turned up, I wasn't even cheering for him. I was like, oh, good. You know what I mean?
If anything, for me, when they do a flashback now, it just reminds me of how good the show used to be and that it shouldn't be associated with it anyway. They've got 2 spectacular miscats now in the role of the Doctor. 3 if you include this one that I've never seen before, who cropped in it last night, this Joe Martin. Rubbish. Saint 194, I'm quite happy for the show to explore different cultures, but why do they have to do it by hating on my demographic? Because it's trendy in their industry, pushing agendas and ticking boxes for the DEI stuff, and then the story was awful. PTA is with us saying no story, no engine. And Legion of James saying, Third Doctor in, you nailed it.
Thank you.
Paul Roughton is with us. Hi, Paul. Hi all, watched out of curiosity, but I knew what was coming. They have now completely wiped out all traces of Doctor Who. It was offensive, pathetic, and there's nothing positive from tripe like that. Yeah. Well said. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that one. I don't know if anyone wants to.
One thing that absolutely disgusted me at the very beginning, I don't know if you guys spotted it as well, but the World Wide Web. And I quote, "He who hides his identity like a cowardly patrol on the web." And then he goes, "Don't be scared," in an American accent. I was like, I was done with that. The comment about his body, the first time having this black version of this body, and then Varada talking about India as well. I was like, stop interjecting. But then when it got to this, I was like, nah, I'm done. And it is more to the point now, watching these episodes, if we didn't have this group, I would have tapped out. But it's tedious having to get through these. it's one of those things. There's no enjoyment of a Saturday night anymore to sit down and watch it. It's
No.
how long have I got? And
I think-
we live really free in their minds with those comments about that we're trolls and that we're cowards. So.
Thank you, Hugh Janus, for your super chat here. They managed to leave out McCoy's doctor.
Did they leave out Pertwee as well? Did Pertwee make an appearance? I don't remember.
Pertwee did, yeah, he
Did he?
did. Well, good for Sylvester.
Yes,
He got himself
shot
out
from
of that.
Spearhead, I think.
There you go.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Just on kind of Kirsty on your point, I don't think the last two seasons, including the 60th anniversary, of reflecting on this, had been made for enjoyment or entertainment. What it was made from the first episode of the Derby is this new era has been written not for us, not for you, for the real fans. It is being made for a small minority of people. The RTD and the clan, basically, the kind of fan that he showed in Lux is the fan that they want. And what they've been deliberately doing from the last two seasons, from basically having a drag queen in, to purposely making the Doctor gay, to basically attacking basically white male, basically misogyny and all of the toxic masculinity. And then, to your point, Kirsty, trolls on the web. I think even the last episode was targeting podcasters, people on YouTube that etc. It's all deliberate. Basically, RTD thought he could have a cake and eat it. He thought he could get rid of all of us and tell us where to go and touch grass. At the same time, he thought by bringing David Tennant back, it'll be enough, and that because he's such a great writer, that the audience.
Well, he thinks he's a great writer.
Yeah, exactly. He thinks he's a great writer. He thought that people would still, that the right kind of people would watch this show. And that's ultimately what these last two seasons are, a deliberate attack. The whole point of bringing up the Fugitive Doctor is to piss us off.
Yes, of course.
That's ultimately what it is, because he knows how much we all hated the Timeless Children. And that's it. And it's just sad that they have to bring in things like Sutek from the classic era and bring things in that basically get tainted by this pile of crap.
Yeah.
Well, of course, part of the minority audience that loves Doctor Who sometimes comes and pops in to us here at Who's Views. And I'd like to say welcome back to Into the Dark. You guys still crying on the internet. Welcome back Into the Dark. It is lovely to see you. Don't forget to please subscribe. If you have already subscribed, please make sure you are still subscribed. And I hope you enjoyed this absolute crap. But yes, we're still here and we're still going to criticize this absolute rubbish. And guess what? We've started a new thing since you last joined us, and it's called the ratings game. So let's have a look and see at the result or what we put in for last week. Last week, Paul decided that he was going to go for 1.3 on the ratings game for this episode.
I never learned.
Yeah. Ian went for 1.36. Kirsty went for 1.4. Jodie went for 1.45, and I went for 1.2. The actual score of this overnight Into the Dark was, of course, 1.59. Still abysmal. We are, of course, going to be looking at the ratings game Into the Dark. The proper ratings in headlines this week. So make sure you come back and moan at us then. But in usual Who's You style, let's see what you could have won, because none of you have won, panel. None of you have won this week's star prize, and this one would have come in very handy for you to throw up everything you'd eaten yesterday after watching the episode, because yes, it was this lovely bathroom set. Yay!
Oh, lovely.
Did
the wallpaper come as well? Because that's beautiful.
Yes, it does. It's the whole bathroom set here. This is the Princess Joni bathroom set, which includes a lovely streamlined WC, and it's been supplied from WC Boggs Limited. So thank you so much.
But no B-days, I noticed. No B-days there at all.
No B-days, no B-days, because apparently the proprietor doesn't like them. But yes, well, thank you. Huge price there from WC Boggs. But no, back it goes. Uncle Sydney, send it back to WC Boggs. If, of course, you want to know more about where that prize comes from, you can join us tomorrow night here live on the channel, 8 o'clock, for Carry On at Your Convenience, where we'll be going backstage at WC Boggs for an exclusive documentary. So join us for that. But no, none of you won that. So tough cheddar cheese, everybody. I've been asking all day to anybody that would listen, what the hell was last night's Story and the Engine about? We've had a quick chat about it, more chats to come. But guys, what was it all about? Well, you may ask, you may say to me.
I was going to, can I ask another question?
No, I'm trying to get into a link.
Oh, sorry.
What was it about, JT?
Thank you
Yeah,
very
what was it
much.
about, JT?
Well, luckily, luckily, the Radio Times has told us. Now, I've always said, and I think you guys agree with me, that if you have to have a behind-the-scenes show, or if you have to have somebody explain what the story was about, the story hasn't been very well executed, and it's failed on all accounts. But thank God for the Radio Times. Look at this. Doctor Who, the Story and the Engine ending explained. Writer and star on the Barber's fate. Who is the Barber actually? Despite the Barber's claims that he's an amalgamation of various different storytelling gods and goddesses, including Anansi, Dionysus, and Besta, I've never heard of them, sorry. The Doctor laughs in his face and quickly figures out he's lying, revealing that he's met the various gods that the Barber claims to be. The Barber is actually a demigod who was once human, but who had a close bond with the gods. When the Doctor meets him, he's aiming to wreak revenge on the gods by severing them from the human memory. The gods needed to strengthen their bond The gods needed to strengthen their bond with humanity, and storytelling strengthened their power. So wherever stories were told, the Barber went and allowed the gods to be worshipped, reasoning that the gods only exist now because of him. I hope you're keeping up. With the help of the gods, he created the Nexus, which is what Paul mentioned before, this fantastical creation that connects concepts, cultures, and ideas. He wanted to be recognized by the gods for his work, but instead was told to know his place. So he sought revenge. When the gods exiled him, the Barber was only able to salvage the story engine that he'd built, but that was enough. Abina explains that he aims to install the barbershop and all its stories at the heart of the Nexus, making him storyteller supreme. But the truth is much more sinister. The Barber wants to sever the gods from human memory, but doing this would kill all of the gods, including Abina's father, Anansi. Plus, considering humans are so tied to the gods, the Barber's plan would irreversibly harm humanity. Who is Abina and how does she know the Doctor? Abina is the daughter of Anansi. She met the Doctor when he was the fugitive Doctor. The Doctor recalls Anansi purposely losing a bet so that the Doctor would win Abina's hand in marriage. When Abina confronts the Doctor, he insists he tried to lose the bet. Abina tells him, I grew up trapped with Anansi, terrified someone would win me in a bet. I heard about you traveling through time. I had faith you would help. Instead, you left me. You humiliated me, Doctor. Confused? You will be. Gatwa's Doctor tells her, I'm sorry I couldn't take you with me. The camera then pans behind Abina's head to reveal Martin's cameo as the fugitive Doctor, telling her I was a fugitive back then, and Nancy was wrong to offer that bet. And frankly, darling, I was busy in a different story that might be finished one day. While Abina is still hurt, she eventually helps the Doctor, Belinda, and the other men held hostage to escape from the barbershop after some persuasion from Belinda. How did the Doctor and Belinda escape? Quite frankly, right now, I don't care, but let's carry on anyway. Abina helps the Doctor and Belinda to escape by weaving a map of the escape route into his hair. Camp! The Doctor distracts the Barber by causing an explosion in the shop, and he and Belinda make a run for it using the map in his hair. They make it to the engine room and open up the heart of the story engine. While the Barber disrupts them, the Doctor has a plan. He tells the Barber a 6-word story, capturing the essence of his life, which gives the engine power. I missed all this, by the way. The Barber is confused, but the Doctor explains that he established a link between himself and the engine, with it now being powered by lifetimes of his stories, with every previous Doctor appearing on screen in a moving moment. Ugh. While the Barber insists that the Doctor has given him never-ending power, the engine actually can't process that much power, and it begins to implode. The Doctor points out that while he controls the engine, the Barber controls the doors, and he urges him to let everyone out. The Barber relents and opens the doors and reluctantly escapes himself alongside the Doctor. The Doctor closes the doors with a sonic screwdriver, with the Nexus seemingly being destroyed. Writer Anua Ellams, I say writer, previously opened up to RadioTimes.com about the importance of storytelling in the episode, saying storytelling is how the men let each other into the most intimate spaces, but it's also what powers friendships across the world. Specifically in barbershops, it is the locomotion that deepens relationships. It is everywhere. It's how we make friends. We begin to tell stories about ourselves to people. But in the barbershop, it is heightened. So storytelling is vitally important.
I really wish I had bought the Radio Times to read that before I watched the episode. It makes it all perfectly clear, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Does it? Now, if you'd known that, Paul, before you went to watch it a second time, you might have understood it.
I still don't understand it. That makes no sense whatsoever, honestly. Really?
What do you
And
guys
sorry,
think about it?
if they're going to use the continuity of all the Jodie crap, can they get it right? Jodie didn't know who the fugitive doctor was. So how does Shooty remember when he was a fugitive doctor? Because Jodie didn't. So when did that happen?
Well,
Not that I
hang
really
on a minute.
care.
I don't understand. No, hang on.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Bear with me. And bear in mind, I didn't watch the Chibnall crap.
Yeah.
I'm only putting myself through this crap because of everybody here. Anyway, there was this terrible, patronizing, hypocritical speech, which was stupid, where it's pointed out blatantly. He's in the TARDIS with Thingy, the girl, and he says, I'm black now or something, and I'm not comfortable. And it went into this thing, society looks at me different. All this woke lecturing, which is absolute mythical to the far left and their propaganda, right? Because it doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it's because you lot have been banging on a drum, because we got rid of all this nonsense, you idiots. And he's going on that terrible speech, which I was squirming with embarrassment over. Firstly, if you didn't like it, regenerate, you clown, and choose a white body then, you bloody idiot. If that's the way you're going to, if you think about it, get off. But secondly, he's going on. So how come, if he's the second black body, I'm confused. How come? What? I'm confused.
Well, let me explain.
He's not, though, is he?
Yeah.
Go on, Paul.
Well, this is my understanding of it, and those who saw Jodie can back me up or tell me I'm talking bollocks. It won't be the first time. But the Jodie's character as the 13th Doctor, she didn't know who the fugitive Doctor was, right? She had no recollection of where she comes in the timeline. They couldn't remember who each other was. Okay?
I thought she was pre-Hartnell. I thought that's what we got into.
No, that's not been established on screen. It's not been established. That's been fan speculation, right? There's also talk about the possibility that the Doctor, was actually, I was going to say, forgotten now. I've lost my thread. Yeah, I'll come back to me.
Why didn't Shooty know? Why am I confused?
Yeah, I'm confused now as well. But why didn't Shooty not know who the fugitive Doctor? He said that he was aware of being the fugitive Doctor in that speech to that woman, and he apologized for leaving her behind. But that was from remembering being the fugitive Doctor. But the Doctor at this point doesn't know who Joe Martin is. That character is, okay, because it's not been established who they are. There was a point as well they're trying to make out that maybe Joe Martin was between Troughton and Pertwee. They're going to slot them in there. There's another theory fans had as well.
That Series B crap.
Yeah. So there's all that stuff going on, but the Doctor doesn't know who the fugitive Doctor is at this point. So they're even bugging up their own continuity,
Because it's all in basically all the memories are trapped in the fob watch, which is sitting inside the TARDIS console somewhere when it's never been opened. Although I'm pretty sure they pretty much insinuated it was pre-Hartnell, because talking around the whole Timeless Child story is basically just saying that it's I know they didn't definitively say it 100%, but it is insinuated. But yeah, all the memories of what happened or what the fugitive Doctor did and whatever is all trapped in a fob watch like the Master, and it's never been opened. So you're right, Paul. How the hell why does he remember? And also it's contradictory. The start of the episode, of JT said that I'm the first black body, but wait, you're now claiming literally 20 minutes later the fugitive Doctor shows up and he's not, now isn't the first black body. It's just it contradicts itself even within the episode.
Yeah,
and this again is another reason why they need a damn good, strong script editor and not someone that's just going to bend the knee to RTD and his lunacy. Pete Fiera, with you in a sec, Kirst, hang on. So the thing about it is the Doctor saying even when he was white, he needed to go to Nigeria every now and again. I don't think that's what they were saying. I think it was just this incarnation there, which was just daft. Stephen L. Rees saying to us, the only enjoyment I get out of this area is watching the viewing figures disappear and watching Who's Views. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I'm not alone in my disbelief at such crap. Maddox, nice Maddox. Warriors of the Deep. Nice to see you, Maddox. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to Who's Views. Where are the iconic reappearing monsters? Can't say I want a single monster I've seen so far to return, and I don't think the writers are trying to make that either. They're not, because they've had their instruction from RTD not to scare the kids, because that's problematic. Paul Roughton is saying it's the third black body. What? I'm getting confused. Little girl at Rift. Fugitive shoot. Little girl at Rift.
Yeah,
Rift
the
of what?
Timeless child.
The first one that they found, the timeless child, that was a black child.
Oh yes, you've
the
said
one that fell off the cliff when fighting with the evil
Right.
white boy on
you have said
Gallifrey.
right. I'm
But,
so confused.
but when she forced that child to go through various other regenerations, there were other black children in that too. So Joe Martin is probably God knows how many black incarnations down the line in this bollocks timeline that they've created.
Oh, it's
But
absolutely
it's
ridiculous.
just
It just makes the Doctor
Joe
narrow-minded,
Martin's
doesn't it? That's
Doctor.
the thing.
Yeah,
Right.
totally. But Joe Martin's Doctor, when Whittaker first met it in that Jadoon story, set in Salisbury or wherever, and it's, you know, you saw that, you just think, Christ, Salisbury, why don't the Russians come back and do us a favor this time? But she'd gone off to this lighthouse where the TARDIS was buried in the ground. And didn't she get her memories back with some fire alarm being pulled? Was that the equivalent of the fog
don't
watch
listen.
for Joe Martin?
Let's not confuse me anymore, because I'm totally confused. I'm really confused. It's absolute nonsense. Right. I'm going to have to draw a line to it, because I'm totally lost with it. It's utter nonsense. And I don't understand it. We've got Andy Radart. Thank you so much for your God, this show. Talk about baggage. Thank you very much for your super chat. Just boring, one-dimensional character, pseudo-intellectual, word salad exposition. And what was the threat if they didn't tell a story? Good point. I haven't got a clue. Don't know. Didn't understand any of it at all. And the Lady Knightsbridge is saying to us, Kirsty, maybe Into the Dark should come back and explain what the episode was all about, because he seems to have gone.
Oh, please, if he could, that'd be really helpful. Because if he enjoyed it and understood it, he's a brainier person than me. But that's not saying much.
Well, we've covered it when we were covering the new writers for this season. Well, is it Iman who wrote this episode?
Anua Ellams.
Anua
Ellams.
Well, I've covered it, but again, he was like, "Oh, I'm such a big fan to Russell," and was forcing the agent to get hold of Russell to be able to write.
Yeah.
And remember, he's never done a TV show before. He is a playwright. And Russell turned and went, "I like your stuff as well. Let's do something." And he was like, "Oh, I've got an idea." And Russell turned around and said, "Well, what you're planning is already happening. I've seen your work, and you've done a poem about a barbershop. Do me an episode about barbershop." That's why we got last night's episode.
Well, that's all it is. And you're right, Kirsty, to point out it was his first television. And again, I'm going to say it, and it's going to upset people. Don't care. He was a DEI hire. So was the other one. It's all DEI. Next week's homophobe is a DEI hire. It's all DEI because last year, didn't he, Kirst? Russell came out, RTD came out, and we covered it on headlines saying, because fans were complaining it was too white this, too white that, because they're the ists. And they were saying all this. And he said, don't worry, next year it's going to be a bit more diverse. And that's what it is. It's DEI hires.
Stop giving DEI hires a chance, which they could be talented, and that's fine that you come from a background, but it's not fair. And it's people that are going through kind of acting school or writing or have talent, and they get ignored just because they're a man, or as they like to say, a cis woman. That's not fair. And it's just disgusting. We've lost out, and we could have had so many talented writers. And it's also not fair that these up and coming people, they have a tantrum going, "I want to do this." There's loads of people, we've had writers in Classic Who that have had to graft for their work.
But the industry, as you know, Kirst, as Paul will know as well, is sick. You know, I am always arguing with people on the stage's Facebook posts when they're going on about the TQ cult, or they're going on about this sort of issue. I hate segregation. I was out there back in the 90s freeing Mandela, for crying out loud. You know, segregation is bad. This is segregation. It's as simple as that. This is what this is. Paul Roughton is saying we've had planets where people are literally blue, green, and red. Why is black such a big deal? In the whole universe, all of time and space, Nigeria is the only place a black person can feel welcome. He's questioning that. Yeah. Paul Rose is with us saying, sounds like I didn't miss much. I will watch it when I get the chance. Can't discuss or rate it yet, though. Paul, don't bother. It was absolute rubbish. And David Shaw's got a question for us. Could Joe Martin become the Doctor at the end of this series to shock cliffhanger? What does the panel think? Any thoughts? Anyone to replace Shooty? I don't want anyone personally, David, to replace Shooty. I want the show off the air. I want it axed, and I want it given to people in a few years' time that understand what Doctor Who is, because I want Doctor Who back, but I want proper Doctor Who, which is not full of all this crap all this propaganda we're being fed every bloody week, which is extremely exhausting and tiring. I want monsters. I want monsters and spaceships. I want space battles. That's what I want from Doctor Who. I want a mystery. I want horror. I want terror. I want the kids wetting themselves at night and keeping the parents up because they'd love it. That's what I want from Doctor Who, David. I can't speak on behalf of the others.
We want a main character that is actually the Doctor. Because more and more I watch, the more and more it's really depressing. The person who's playing the main role should obviously it's hard to do it from the off unless you're a really great actor, but should be inhabiting the character more and more the more you play it, etc. With Shooty, I'm literally watching more and more the Doctor becoming Shooty Gatwa. Literally, like not just in terms of the way he acts, but also the way it's written. It's not written like the Doctor. It's written when he says all of those lines. It's made for Shooty Gatwa. It's not made. Do you know what I mean? The actual writing itself is not even based on the character of the Doctor anymore, which is why it's the only thing that remains of, and it's a sham that it's called Doctor Who. It's literally the TARDIS. If the TARDIS was in it, it's just dragging the name of Doctor Who by name only. It's the whole soul of Doctor Who, the character of the Doctor. It's not there. It disappeared, and so we're kind of watching like a funeral happening.
Slow one,
a very slow one. We know it's dead. And this episode, I think, was the one that for me, which is like, yep, bam, there's not even anything Doctor Who in that whole episode. Zero, nothing. Can anybody name something that was Doctor Who in that episode? Because I can't.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They need to start doing the fantasy route, because this is borderline or was fantasy, and there was it wasn't that much science fiction.
Well, there's no peril. There's no kind of tension in it at all. It's just not exciting. It's just dull. It really is, you know.
And you've watched it twice, and you're still bored with it, and you still didn't understand
well, honestly,
it.
the second time watching it, I think the first time I did this anyway, I picked up my phone halfway through and looking at that. And
did you?
Right, yeah. So I couldn't. I started 15 minutes in. I got bored both times. Yeah. And I think I drifted off the first time. That's why I tried to watch it again to see if I was more engaged with it. And I wasn't. It was awful. But going back to someone's comment about Joe Martin being the next Doctor, that wouldn't surprise me. That really do that to really piss us off. It really would. Yeah.
What if he ends it? If the series ends with her as a I'm here now.
Yeah.
But listen, as fans, we can write off anything we want with this crap. I certainly I won't acknowledge the Chibnall era. After this nonsense, I won't be acknowledging this one. All Shooty Gatwa as the Doctor. There's only 12 in my mind. I'm not even including God loving John Hurt. Doesn't for me? No, that's where it all started. This nonsense of shoehorning in other actors. That's Moffat's fault.
And they've done that to Des, haven't they? Really, they really have.
It's boring. It's boring. I mean, look, if JT is confused as Robert Payne, I am. My head was aching for a minute. Imagine what the general public viewers, not we, think of this mess. It's they're not watching it. It's well, that's the firstly, they're not watching, Paul. But can you imagine it had a slight increase? Now, you're not going to like this, you radical left-wing ideologists that are watching the show. But can I just point out that the 2021 United Kingdom census, in that, the result was over 81% of the population of the United Kingdom were recorded as white. Over 81%. So here we are again, pandering to a minority. So who was that episode for? I tell you who it was for, in my opinion, guys. It was for that minority of the TQ cult and all these people who are so ideological and on the extreme far left, who have today shown their colours by coming out and calling everybody else it's and us. Oh, you didn't understand it. Because they are terrified of being called an ist or an ot because they didn't like it, or because I reckon a huge percentage of people are saying it was brilliant and the best thing ever last night are terrified of a stupid name. Get a grip. What do you guys think of this?
Well, it's all right. The thing is, Kirsty was saying this earlier, it's okay to dislike things without being attacked. You should have that forum to say, I like it, I don't like it, or it's a bit meh, whatever. But you can't attack people for not liking something. That's just really stupid, isn't it? You know what I mean?
But it's the easy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to shut down the argument. It's just you say the label of it and whatever isms, etc., is banded about so easily nowadays. I mean, it's disgusting, really, when those actual things really happen. It's great that people are using those terms so easily, but it's just so that they can shut down the other person. They don't actually have to hear what they have to say, and I think we very, very easily get confused nowadays with disagreeing with something doesn't equal hate, right? My constructive criticism of this episode, it comes from a place of the fact that I love Doctor Who and I want Doctor Who to do well. And if I don't like something, I have the right to say that I don't like it. Nobody here has said we hate the episode because, oh, by the way, it's an all black cast, right? If we had said that, we would 100% people have the right to say those things. What we're saying is we don't like this episode because it's a bad episode. How they got onto primetime BBC One at whatever time it was, I can't even remember now. How they've got part from script editing. It's a disgrace. A 5-year-old could write something that makes more sense than this, and I'm not joking. That's just the honest truth.
No, it's true, because I'd rather read a 5-year-old. Because guess what it would be about? The Daleks, the Cybermen, spaceships, battles. Yeah. That's the stuff I probably as a kid, as a I'm going to say this, as a young boy, that's what I wanted from Doctor Who. Jason's saying to us, of all the talented people who would love to write for Doctor Who, a talentless so-called writer got the job. Talk about privilege, talentless actors. Series has 2 themes: white man badge or genderism. That's fair enough. And Limekins, don't forget that show business and the alleged entertainment industry are incredibly discriminatory. But it's because it's called positive discrimination, they're allowed to get away with it, which is bloody ridiculous. Yeah. Welcome back, Limekins. Bottom line is, it's just boring. There was no tension, no plot, no threat, no direction. Where did the budget go? Next week's episode from
if this was shown in the 1980s, I'd be watching Buck Rogers instead, honestly.
That's a great thing to say, because you're right, because I think I would have even switched over. And I sat through Meglos.
But Meglos is better than this crap, surely, honestly. Really.
That's what I'm saying. I will never complain. Yeah. I will never complain about any of those 26 years again, because every single bloody story is a gem compared to this crap. Oh, thank you, Hugh Janus, for your super chat. Was it just me, or did the bad guy sound in places like a certain showrunner feeling underappreciated and lacking the worship he thought he was owed?
Good point.
That
is brilliant. I love it. Paul, you watched it twice. What do you think?
Well, I definitely agree that it seems like it's he's having a tantrum about it, and that's why I put that speech in. But talking about the actor who played the evil Barber, he wasn't evil at all. He was just really bland.
He was misunderstood.
Yeah, but he wasn't he wasn't that scary as a villain either. So there's no gravitas like Shooty doesn't,
But it's like I said at the time watching this. Oh, he'll turn good in the end.
Yeah,
and he did, but he didn't last week.
No. He's also he was in the Peter Capaldi episode with Maisie Williams, the one set in sort of Dick Turpin's time, that episode, and he was a lion creature in that.
Oh yeah.
He was really dull in that as well. So
the girl who died or something was one of the two. Whoever they were there. I was going to say one thing I forgot that really grinded my gears about this episode was when the Doctor throws a temper tantrum because his mate basically he thought it basically betrayed him because the guy was trying to basically he needed the Doctor to try and save his friends, his basically friends live, whatever. And I just thought to myself, why the hell would the Doctor throw a temper tantrum? He's trying to save his friend first and foremost. And but if we remember, even for example, Capaldi, when Clara had basically chucked the TARDIS key, and he basically in I think not Death in Heaven, that 2-parter anyway in season 8, he said to her, I can forgive you for betraying me. But this Doctor, hey, you try and save your friend's life, and you trick me into coming into the barber shop or whatever. I'm gonna moan and cry about it. Like, come on, that's not Doctor Who.
Maybe they're trying to make him more interesting because it's just a flat characterization and a terrible performance. And if I'm surprised he didn't high kick in this one again. Mark Greaves, thank you for your super chat. He's ancient, met the Daleks aside with Silurians Taurans, and when he has to tell a story, it's about a bloody NHS nurse he's known for 5 minutes. What a prat.
Yeah, I'm bored with ordinary people, aren't you? Really, God.
Yeah. But on Friday's headlines, some of the chat you were asking, how would they shoehorn in Anita Dobson into this as Mrs. Flood? Well, you got your answer, because there she was in that sort of story. Well, how Shooty Gat was Doctor knew she was there, I don't know. We've got Donkey the Funky Evans guy saying to us, at best, this is a series that should be on BBC 3, where its audience is. Raymond is saying to us, this is no longer a British show. It's lost its identity and its soul, as last night illustrated beautifully, I think, Raymond. Richard Brooks, good evening, folks. Good evening to you, Richard. What fresh hell did you have to endure this week? Stay tuned. You're going to hear a lot more about it. Experimental episodes, says Matthew Pounder, used to be like The Mine Robber and Warrior's Gate. Superior stories to this drivel. Well said. Yes, well said. Eastland Bookholder, nice to see you. Just mentioned good as writing a story. The restart point, nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. Season 1 of Buck Rogers is a lot of fun, Paul. There you go, that's for you.
Yeah. Well, compared to this, it is. I always find Buck Rogers is funny. The effects are wonderful in it. And then they cut to the studio and it's 80s disco. It's fab. Really, honestly.
I know, with those camp outfits. Positive discrimination is racist. Positive discrimination is wrong, and it should never have been introduced. The BBC still practice it, Chris Lawley. I mentioned Meglos. Let me just make it very clear to Gav B, to John, to P. Ferreira, to everybody else as well in the chat that's saying this. I do like the Meglos, but I was illustrating the fact that I was sitting through it as a 10-year-old and waiting for something to happen. But it didn't get there. But I do love it. I absolutely do love it. Doctor Who wibbly wobbly timey-wimey clips. Phew. Nice to see you. Welcome. The moment that killed Gat was anything resembling the Doctor was in the Robot Revolution. He steps on the, yes, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, the goo, who was the guy a minute earlier and then laughs and dances like a fool. The panel are always going to point that out. Mark Lurseth is saying, I like Meglos. Matthew Burrows, I like Meglos. I like Meglos too, honestly.
That actually happened in the first episode, or was I having a fever dream?
Say that again.
No,
did that actually happen in that first? I've still not seen it.
It happened. Yeah.
He was hoovered up by Polish. Yeah, so.
The white guy was reduced to a sperm and an egg, and then as they were looking at the floor where this sperm and an egg, where it was, this robot Hoover came along and cleaned it up, therefore basically terminating him. And they had a damn good laugh about it. They thought it was hilarious because
it was disgraceful. Shock him.
White guy.
Are we still on air? Are we still on air, everybody? We are. Right, lovely. Okay. I'm just checking. It's so bizarre, the algorithms on this thing these days. So bizarre. Which leads me to a point, if I may. Stephen Praddock first. My least favourite story was the Twin Dilemma, but not anymore. The whole last 5 years. I'll watch the Twin Dilemma any day now and never complain again after that crap last night, I'll tell you. And the Lady Knightsbridge, RTD has become so bad, even the Cybermen would struggle to give him an upgrade. Why would they want to? They'd probably go, no, and turn around, wouldn't they? Let's have a look. What was I going to say? I just want to make a point, actually, that happened today, just to let you all know watching the channel. I will never, ever, ever delete comments on the channel's shows. I will never do that. Why would I? Quite frankly, I'm too busy to even do it. I wouldn't bother. I don't even know if I have to do it, but I would never do that because there was an instance there where a regular Who viewer came on and complained about the fact that, quite nastily, I have to say that I deleted. I never would delete your comments. If somebody's made a fool of themselves, it's not for me to decide that. It's for everybody else. So just rest assured, if your comments have been deleted, it's probably down to these algorithms or something to do with YouTube that I don't understand. Okay.
And
It's
God-
not
Is
big.
it something they use in the phrasing that's taking it off? Then
It
you think?
could be.
Yeah,
It could be
yeah.
because they have these bot things that look for words like the old white words that they use in interviewing now.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
ridiculously well.
And Garbage, Problem, Being and myself, we don't have the power to do anything like that as well.
Exactly. I probably do, but I don't know how. But I wouldn't do it anyway because that's what Who's Views is all about. Get your comments in. If it disappears, reword it or put something in because it's nothing to do with me. Anyway, there's my particular public information rant over there. Legion of James, the colour of the cast is irrelevant to the audience, only relevant to the ideology pushers. Yeah. What isn't irrelevant is the prejudice they are pushing weekly through abysmal, inept writing and acting. And good evening to Cloud SSJ4, who says they are finally succeeding in rendering the Doctor a completely ordinary human being. He even thinks like a basic human now. He does, doesn't he? And Paul Brady is saying to us, but did he cry though?
No.
Well, shock horror. He didn't, did he, Paul? You
No, he
watched it
didn't, no.
twice, so you checked
I
twice.
checked it twice, and he didn't cry. I was disappointed, really, because obviously he's a husk now. He's dried out, isn't he? That's it. So
That's it. I'm just making a note here. Never let Paul forget he watched this twice.
I'm not going to watch it again. That's for sure. Unless I want to go to sleep, because that'll be the next date for that one. I think. Yeah.
Do you know, Kirsty, I might get him a T-shirt that says "I watched it twice." I'll just write that down. Watch this face. You might have a new bit of might have a new bit of clothing very soon. But no, he didn't cry at all, did he, everybody? So I was amazed. Absolutely amazed.
The rest of us cried though afterwards, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I was crying. Yeah, I was like, "Oh my God, what have they done?"
Yeah.
Marie UK, hello, darling. Thank you so much for your super chat. This show is now RTD's African It's a Sin. Ooh, yeah. And William Dublin. Oh, that's a nice name. Hello, William. So all these people disliked the episode. Okay. Yes. Did you or did you not? If you liked it, welcome. Please tell us what did it for you, because we can't see anything. Tell us, what was it? Do you see the Doctor in Ncuti Gatwa? Please tell me if you do, and tell me why. I will try and find you. Okay.
Again,
nice
can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
I have seen as well a Doctor Who fan, same age as me, who are mates of mine, who quite liked it. So I don't understand which series they're watching, but they liked it. So
well, tell him to get in the chat and tell us why.
I'll ask them myself first and see what they say. But I can't believe they liked it, honestly.
Yeah. We've got to the restart point here. So maybe the Nigerian Television Authority should buy the rights to the show if Gatwa would go down a bomb there. Yeah,
well, they've probably got most of the missing episodes anyway, haven't they, somewhere? So, you know.
Ian's never going to let that one go, is he, Fubu?
We'll swap. They can give us all the missing episodes back, and they can have this pile of cack.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do a swap.
Oh.
Yeah, let's do it. You can have everything from Chibnall onwards, and we'll have all the proper stuff. Great idea, that one.
That was a great idea. Yeah.
Captain Mike Captain is saying to us, no high kick, but he did skip. Did he?
Did he? That's watch it twice to remember.
Oh, you see, this is this is one of those few Doctor Who episodes. Oh, I say legend Doctor Who. I drifted away because of the mumbling, because of lack of story, a lack of interest, no engagement for. I was drifting away, so I've not paid attention, Captain, my Captain.
Music is the continuous kind of drums and whatever that musical instrument is with the. It was annoying. It was borderline. I thought it was borderline racist as well. That like over in Africa, we're just trying to make like the most stereotypical African sounds from Murray Gold. I don't know if anyone else thought
that. Yes, I'm with you. I mean, I didn't understand the music. The music got on my tits, quite frankly, because what happened is it was too loud for me. It was too involved. It was too, setting the scene. We're in Africa. They weren't. They were in bloody cut. But do you know what I mean? It was too much. And I thought, I'm going to watch The Lion King in a minute.
Yeah.
Can I? There's a question I want to ask you, but there's another story, but I don't understand. Why does the TARDIS go all red and other things happen? Do we know?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
I want to ask people about that because I've got this. What was going on?
Yeah, no idea. So,
I
because
think
something
the-
happened when they went through the door of the barber shop, and then you cut back to her, and the TARDIS is all red. I didn't understand why that happened.
Well, nothing else made sense, did it? So why does that? I mean,
Well, just in case I missed something, Ian, because I'm a bit slow.
They just want to use. They just want to use the LEDs on this very expensive set.
Probably.
Yes,
Done
yes.
overall.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Emilio. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think it's fine. The doctor, I think, just basically says, "Oh yeah, like he referenced the fact that did the TARDIS do a kind of thing or whatever, without actually explaining why it did it, what it's doing, if that makes any sense. But I think was it last week or whatever, I can't remember, but the TARDIS light was different. Yeah, as you said, they're probably just trying to try all of the different colours, basically. It's just a bit bored, really. The light designers, whatever, they need something to do.
According to our beautiful viewers in the chat, everybody, our friends in the chat, he did cry. Robert Payne pointing out he cried when he felt betrayed by Omo. Who was Omo?
He welled up.
He's the original Barber, not the villain Barber.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, sorry.
He welled
probably
up
got emotional.
When he betrayed.
Right.
You probably got emotional and nostalgic remembering when Omo was just a washing up powder brand. Do you remember Omo?
I remember Omo. Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm too young.
Yeah.
I last saw Omo. I last saw Omo for sale in a shop in Kenya. Long after it disappeared from Britain, I saw it in a shop in Kenya years ago.
Oh.
Maybe it's an African thing now.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's probably not. It's probably from Europe and sent in. But what we've got here, we've got lots of people saying, right, yes, it's when Omo betrayed him, he did cry. Duncan the Evans saying he wipes a tear away with the camera behind him. I missed it because I was probably asleep or filing my nails. Lex Kane, thank you for your super chat. Buck Rogers is a better dancer than Gatwa Who, and Buck Rogers in the 25th century is a great show. Yeah, well, we'll move on. But thank you for your super chat on that one. I'll never forgive it. It was on against the Doctor. Never forgive it in my. Well, let's have a look at that because we got the crying game results. And yes, last week's crying game, Ian said 3, Paul said 2, Kirsty said 2 and a bit. I said 2. Well, Jodie said 1. Right, Jodie said 1, so she gets a Who's Views pencil. There you go.
Yeah.
So well done, Jodie. I'll pass it to her next time I see her in the pub. So here's your pencil. But well done, Jodie. You're getting a pencil for saying 1. He cried 1. There you go. Look, Sliverwolf. I keep saying it was Sliverwolf. Hiya, mate. I watched this twice with a few pints. That's probably the way you're going to get through it, to be quite honest.
I wish I had. Yeah.
You did need it, didn't you? Honestly, really. Listen, let's move on then. So it's great to see so many of you with us in the show. If you are new to us, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please like the show as well. Leave us a comment or come into the chat. If you've already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. And let's look at this. Kirsty, you mentioned it, didn't you? Because this is Inuit Ellens. He made a cameo in the episode. I can't remember what the hell he was doing. I don't know if you guys can, but Paul, you said on Headlines on Friday, is that his costume? It turned out it was.
Yes, it is. Yes. He made a little cameo, obviously, in it, and I watched Unleashed, and he was interviewed on that, and that exact same costume he was wearing in the scene. So yeah, that's his costume. Yeah.
And then he went home in it, free outfit.
Yeah.
What was his character? Can anyone remind me?
He was just someone at the marketplace who bumps in. He's tried to serve Belinda at one point, and she's not getting money or something, and then that's it.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, he's not integral to the story. It's just like, oh, I'm in the episode. That'll be extra money for me. Yeah.
So they fly the writers out now, do they?
Yeah. He's doing an Alfred Hitchcock, isn't he? A wee cameo. That's it.
Oh yeah, but not as classy, eh? Not as classy.
No.
Or what's his name? That's The Hobbit. What's his name? That's The Hobbit. The Doctor Who fan.
Peter Jackson. When he does it in Lord of the Rings.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Or The Hobbit, where he's eating a carrot, basically.
That's my favourite one of his, where you spot him and he's just literally at the camera. What's up, Dark? Great line.
I love J&T and Arc of Infinity at the phone box. That's interesting.
As he's trying desperately to keep.
Yeah, get the shot.
Get out of my show, love. Right. Have a look at this, though, everybody, as well. This is from. Where's this from? This is from Den of Geek. Doctor Who writer teases episode 5, The Barbershop is a safe place to be. Now, this is written by Amanda Ray Prescott, and this was a teaser to this particular episode. But let's have a look at it now with hindsight, shall we, everybody? Screenwriter, poet, and playwright Inuit Ellens gave us a spoiler-free preview of his Doctor Who episode, The Story and the Engine. In the earlier interview with RTD, the showrunner said that the story in the engine screenwriter Inua Ellams created a whole history of friendships for the Doctor around a whole new mythology. Yes, it did. And none of it made any sense. Den of Geek interviewed Ellams to find out about his inspiration for the episode and his experience observing filming. In our previous interview, RTD talked about how you joined Doctor Who as a guest screenwriter. Can you tell us your side of the story? Now, this is what you'll love this, Kirsty, because this is what you were saying before. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Ellams says, I've been working my butt off in this television or screen industry for about 12 years, and this episode is the first thing that's being made. When I heard RTD was announced as the showrunner, I was really excited. I told my agent, great, I'm a huge fan of Russell's work. This is brilliant. Could you tell him that I'd love to write for the show? His agent responded saying, Russell is way too busy. He can't take any meetings. He's focused on crafting out the big story, which he was. My agent told me that, and she saw my soul leave my body. And then she said, you know what? Why don't you just slide into his DMs? Matron, just drop him a message on Instagram. I did. And within an hour, RTD wrote back and said, oh my God, Inua, I really love your work. Would you write for us? I said, yes. That's how the episode came about. So if you are a struggling writer right now and you are desperately trying to get something on television, just use the DMs. Don't use the professional routes like your agent and trying to get a business meeting or a lunch, as we used to do in the old days. Just go something called the DM. Apparently that's not Danger Mouse, but go through a direct message and go through them directly. That's how today you get a gig.
Yeah.
If you're the right demographic.
Correct, Ian. Correct.
If only were that easy, yeah.
When you started working on the episode, says Den of Geek, did RTD give you any parameters or did he give you full creative control? I went to him first with one other story, which he loved, but another writer was working on a similar story. That's always the case. And we weren't sure or not if that writer would turn in the script. Eventually, that writer didn't. But because of that, Russell said, okay, why don't you just do something set in one local location in a barbershop, like your previous thing? I thought, I can do that. I'd written a play called The Barbershop Chronicles, which he had loved. And we had friends in common who were in the play. And we're in a previous TV series of his called Cucumber, load of shit, which I loved. It made perfect sense for me. The barbershop plays an important role in African and Black, what's that, diaspora cultures. What should viewers know before they watch the episode? For me, it was important to try and tell a story here, says Inua. Ice Cube has made 4 films set inside the barbershop. I didn't even know who that was. I had to look it up. Also, there's that famous scene in Coming to America. What it does for audiences, what it does for the black men who loved the show, who loved and understood implicitly what was happening in both movies, is the same thing that it offers African men or men of African origins. The barbershop is a safe place to be, loud, boisterous, to take up space, to tell stories, to be gregarious without the prying eyes, without feeling like we need to dampen our loud spirits. A space without fear of our enthusiasm being mistaken for aggression, where we can be subtle and larger than life and small, where we let our guard down, where we let other men beautify us. When you're cocooned in the barber's cloth, you have to sit still and be taken care of. It's a place where we negotiate masculinity at its most extreme and its most subtle. It's constantly evolving and changing. You're negotiating intergenerational power dynamics all the time. If I sit in the chair and an elder walks in, do I have to get up because of him? Who do I call uncle? Who do I talk to like a little boy? It's socially dynamic space, and it's constantly shifting. Sounds like toxic masculinity to me.
Sounds like a little bollocks to me, frankly. It really is.
How is a British audience going to relate to that? Because, you know, when you go to... My dad ran a barbershop, for crying out loud, in London for many years.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And, you know, British culture is basically, you know, you do talk to your barber, but you don't go into your life details in that detail. You know, how is a British audience, who, let's say majority of the people that will be watching this, are going to be able to relate to that or understand it? You know,
well, they can't, can they?
It's basically forcing his own upbringing. I'm not saying, you know, that, you know, you can't do something with that, but not in Doctor Who. Doesn't suit it. Doctor Who and barbershops, no.
I think you need to explain the premise of it, don't you? Because if he's saying all these things that happen in there and the cultural aspects of it, there needs to be some explanation for a non-African viewer to understand it. Surely, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I just throw in here as well that from my experience, and yes, it is changing very, very slowly, but in my experience, African men are the most homophobic ever. Honestly, I have encountered in my travels quite a few African men, especially when more and more started to come over to London. Some of them were very nice, but they were tolerant of me and not accepting huge differences. Some of them were downright bloody rude. And that's why this whole thing that he's just said there, this whole piece of waffle, oh, we're negotiating the masculinity, borderline homoerotic in one aspect as well, but incredibly hypocritical, you know? And didn't Shooty, in fact, I know he did. Last year we reported on headlines that Shooty at one point last year said he went into a barbershop or something. He didn't like the atmosphere because he's queer, not same-sex attracted, because they can't say that for new viewers to the show because it's transphobic. You have to be queer. And remember, he walked out. He didn't like it as he got the role of the Doctor. Remember that? So the last time the TARDIS went red, said Lex in his super chat, was the episode of Last of the Time Lords. Yeah, but there was a reason for that. The blooming thing was going to die. It's going to blow up. Why did it happen in last night? I don't get it. And Zentz is with us. Hello, Zentz. Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. This is too many British people. We won a war against you for a reason. Please don't take me too seriously. I never do. You're American. Nice manners. Strange people. But yes, it's good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much. We're not finished with that one, actually. We've got one more slide for you. It's this one. There have been previous conversations about the 15th Doctor and his connections, or that lack thereof, to a community. Were you aware of that before you started writing the episode? I wasn't aware of those conversations about him needing a community because the Doctor is nomadic. The Doctor is so old and has occupied so many lives. My ancestors from Nigeria were also nomadic. I understand that wanderlust, the need to escape, and I think that aspect of the Doctor is one of the reasons why I'm drawn to the character. The 15th Doctor feels a greater sense for community on Earth, but when he is beyond Earth, he's just as much an alien as any of the beings he bumps into. You're either collectively individual as aliens or collectively united as aliens.
But he didn't make that point in the show. He delivered. So either he didn't write it, and RTD wrote that bit around the feeling of you need to be the same color skin to basically be able to relate to somebody. I mean, based on what he just said there in our interview, why is the complete opposite highlighted in the episode? If I've understood what he was basically saying there, Richard, the Doctor's an alien, etc. So somebody else must have written it, surely then.
The thing about this that got me is the Doctor, when the Doctor was white, okay, when he went to different planets, people didn't always accept him for being white. So he's used to that kind of environment, going to places where he's different from people, from the Menoptera in the Web Planet or whoever. When he meets different alien creatures, different life forms, they don't accept him for what he is. He's very accepting of them, but he's experienced by different life forms, different ethnicities. So what's the problem?
Exactly.
Everything they're trying to do, but painting the white person as the bad person, everything they're trying to do is basically wrapped up in dislike for the unlike. And that was the entire theme of Terry Nation's The Daleks in December 1963. And yet, for some reason, they think that this is something new, and let's take the Daleks out because they're problematic, but let's make the white person the genocidal, racist maniacs who have to be stamped out. And I know what you said, JT, about, the British population is 81% white. The global population for white people is about 10%, I think. The white people on this planet are actually a minority. They are possibly the most oppressed minority on this planet because this minority, the white minority globally, is the one minority where you can discriminate on just about everything and get away with it.
That's true. It's like Catholics as well, isn't it? You do what you like to them and nobody cares. And it's shocking. And that's what the whole thing about positive discrimination is everybody except those two. And God help you if you're white Catholic these days. They'll be throwing you to lions at some point, I'm sure. Go on, Amelia.
And I'm going to say, I'm Catholic as well. So there you go. You can take the piss out of our religion, no matter what. Anyway, but I'm going to say, just imagine the table returned, right? Imagine Capaldi had basically said that to a companion. I go to a white barber because I feel it's safe. I can relate to the people. I mean, imagine the uproar, right?
I'll imagine the
It
complaints.
worked
Yeah.
both ways. It worked both ways. You can't say that on either side because people don't relate to people purely on the color of their skin. It may be a factor to some people, but that's their problem, not the rest of us.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's sad that I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It's sad that we're at this particular point in what it's calling itself Doctor Who, but it's not Doctor Who in any way, shape, or form. What have we got here? Rose Kirby is saying, so I think I should win something. I was intrigued to think about the ending. I'm still confused, but it was a great story with great special effects, in my opinion. Good for you. Absolutely good for you. If you liked it, that's what it's all about. Well
Why
done, you.
did you like it? What made it? What appealed to you about it? That's something I can't decipher when people like it. I don't understand.
And what made it feel like it was an actual what are the hallmarks of a Doctor Who story in this? Do you know what I mean? What if you just take the breakdown of what a Doctor Who story should be? How did this live up to that? That's what I'm curious from a fundamental level.
What I've suggested to a lot of people who's gone on basically today, Emilio, on social media saying this was the best Doctor Who ever. I think it's because the last few years have been terrible. So maybe they're just looking at this recent stuff, but this doesn't hold up as far as I'm concerned to anything.
Well, this is worse than last week's. This one, honestly.
Yeah, this is worse than The Well. So I can understand why people said that about The Well, because we all had at least some decent thing to say about that episode.
The Well was genius compared to this.
I actually think those people they know deep down, they know this show is going off the air, and they are just trying to force positivity on Twitter, whatever, to make it like the best thing ever. And I've seen people say, "Oh my word, this is on par with season 4."
Yes, I've thought that. Yeah,
come on, be objective here. Even if you like it, be objective. It's nowhere near the levels of series 4 on New Who. So it kind of like it's them just trying to force a narrative here. They're desperate. They're clinging at straws. They're trying everything so that this show doesn't get cancelled. I think that is why we're seeing all of the kind of uproar on Twitter, because you cannot say that this. I wouldn't say this is anywhere close to the best of the series. I actually think this is the worst of this series, and I think The Well with the best episode we gotten. So I understand if you say that about The Well, but this episode, to say it's the best. I mean,
be careful you wish for, Emilio. Next week's gonna be horrendous, I can swear.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you all make of that. Jason's with us saying, "Dear RTD, hope he's watching. Male and female homosexuality is illegal in Nigeria and is punishable by up to 14 years in prison. And there's other stuff that can happen as well. So the current Doctor is in trouble. No mention of this in your latest puke of an episode. Quite right. Again, the hypocrisy. Turning a blind eye to certain things they don't want to acknowledge. That's what they do. For example, the homophobic author of next week's episode turned a blind eye to the nasty things he's been saying over the years, haven't they? You're absolutely right. Marie UK, thank you for your super chat. All these DEI hires kicking off because they want their own way. A tantrum never got me anything growing up. Just me? No. If I had a tantrum when I was a kid, I got clout.
Just a jolly good smack bottom. That's what you got, yeah.
Yeah.
If they set a story in 1950s Britain, you can bet money that they would reference the fact that homosexuality was illegal. You could absolutely put money on it.
Yes,
they really would.
Right.
They would mention it. They would ram it down your throat. How evil the British society in the 50s, how evil the British society in the 50s was because homosexuality was illegal. Or they wouldn't say homosexuality, would they? Yeah. They'd say queer was illegal and everything else. But you go to Nigeria, where it is today, where probably, I think there's a lot of African countries that, let's face it, still practice slavery as well. Let's throw that in too. But no, nothing.
Wasn't it mentioned in last night's episode, the slavery thing? It was mentioned, wasn't it?
Yes, actually, slavery was. And I don't know if it's still practiced in Nigeria, but I know it is in quite a few parts of Africa still.
Yeah,
and
they ran it themselves, it wasn't like white people.
Yeah, as it was for centuries before the white slave trade started. You know, they had that going for years. But you know, none of it. It's painted as this panacea, isn't it? Oh, Nigeria, fantastic. They've got it just right. Actually, no, they haven't. They've got a lot of dirty little secrets, but you don't want to touch on any of them. But if it's a white country by Christ.
they don't like the reality of history. I know that because they're rewriting LGB history to shoehorn in people that weren't there. They've rewritten Doctor Who history in a way as well, to shoehorn people that just weren't involved with it. But good point, Ian. It's a good point. But again, it's another example of hypocrisy. PTA's with us saying, Paul Thomas Ashworth, I love Who's Views. Well, thank you, Paul Thomas Ashworth. We love you too. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It reminds me of That's Life Without Esther. You should go out with a microphone and ask the public if they watch this crap excuse for Doctor Who. Now, you might joke, but I have considered that. And I keep meaning to do it because I've got this little thing that allows me to do it. And I was thinking, it could do this, couldn't we? But then, I don't know, we'd see. We might get some interesting things, but you never know. You never know. It might happen, PTA. We've also got some other people in the chat with us as well. It's good to see you all. PTA also saying to us, I'm sick of all the gods and offensive Christian messaging. All these God things are getting on my tits right now, everybody. I am so over it. I really, really am over it. We had one interesting one there. Well, they're all interesting, but there was this one. Yes, Doctor Who, wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey clips. At least RTD is upholding the BBC's unsaid policy of no American writers. That would be disastrous. Ha! I am an American writer and I've written 3 excellent scripts, lean on Brit friends for Cult and Vocab. They're not, though, because remember Rogue?
Yeah.
That all the awful, bloody, nonsensical, ridiculous episode where the Doctor suddenly turned into a lustful cretin, written by 2 American women, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
From, what was it called? What's that show they were doing?
Loki.
Thank you.
Was it? Oh yeah, that's set on Bridgerton. Yeah, was what the episode was about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's forgotten. Absolutely. We'd all forgotten it. I've been trying to forget it.
I think this week's episode is on a par with that, isn't it? But in a different way.
Oh yeah. You're right, Paul. The parallel is it's there.
Yeah.
It's just a different subject, isn't it? Yeah. And I think more or less around the same time in the schedule. Catherine Reed has been with us. Hello, Catherine. What are you saying? I've been watching Catweasel lately, a lot more like Doctor Who than the actual show. Just good old-fashioned fun, not like the actual show these days.
Yeah.
I tell you what. Do you know what? We're all enjoying, of course, You and Eden, the John Pertwee repeats. We're all enjoying them. That's Doctor Who. It's so nice to have Doctor Who on the telly, guys, isn't it? Yeah. Look at everybody in the chat. It's brilliant to see you all. Thank you so much for being with us. R. John is also saying Rogue had that terrible American actor. What's his name? Who?
Jonathan Groff. Is that you mean?
Well done, yeah. Well done.
I didn't mind him as an actor, but I wish he was a different character. He was just another version of Captain Jack, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yes, that's all it is. Moriarty's going to put a good point. This is what leads me on to something else I wanted to talk about. Anyone going to mention how a nurse knew how a metafiction engine could overload? Yeah, it's a good point, but can I just ask, did anybody miss Belinda last night? Because it was a Belinda Light episode, wasn't it? Yeah. And you know what? That awful start, it was so false, that contrived, you've got to get me back home.
Yeah.
Do you know, Emilio, at that point, that's when I went...
Yeah. That was the first. That was literally the first line of the episode, was it? Or something. It's like, oh my god, not again. Honestly, we get the point. Just stop it. Just frustratingly annoying. But it's the same. She's had 2 episodes now in a row where it's basically been Belinda Light. The only trope that they've got about her is that she's a nurse. There's nothing that makes her stand out as a person or as a character. Apart from the job that she does, it's just so simplistic, lazy writing. There's nothing that gets me invested in the character getting home whatsoever. And they've not even made the attempt this series really to spend any time trying to get to know her as a person. And to that line, she had to give that a bump because they needed to give her something to do. And that's ultimately it. It had no logical or narrative reason why she would understand what was going on in the bloody first place. I mean, obviously, none of us did, and I'm sure most of the people, actually, the characters themselves didn't know what the bloody hell was going on either. It's... I mean, she could have been forgettable. She could have been the most forgettable companion that we've ever had.
Can I also add as well that I come from a family of nurses, and that story of nurses doesn't happen. That she was leaving like that. That is with her kind of overcoat jacket, that she wouldn't be allowed to go in and treat a patient with all the stuff and whatnot as well. And the fact that they're like, oh, she's just done a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
And then if I heard it right, that she stayed again and did another. That's illegal.
Yeah.
And as well, they're writing. This is the first time I've properly met Belinda, and she's one of those stereotypical female and the bestest thing ever. Again, coming from a family of nurses, they're the heart and the soul, but the doctors are doing the stuff as well. If you spoke to a doctor or a locum or a guest like that, you would get a bollocking.
Yeah.
They're the ones that'll do your catheters and all your jibs and dabs and all that. And the doctor's just prescribing and seeing. If you spoke to someone like that, you would get done, and you don't need to write your female characters, even if they're nurses or Katy Perry astronauts or whatnot. They don't need to show them that they're the bestest thing ever.
No, but they need to do the research, don't they? That's the thing. And he's not doing his research properly. That's the thing.
But what they're trying to do here is to make Belinda the bestest ever.
Yeah, yeah.
Aren't they?
But why didn't they make her a surgeon then, or something like that? Because I totally agree with you, Kirsty. This is the second time her intro episode did it as well, and I think we commented on it there. She's walking around like Hugh Laurier's house, telling everybody what everything is, diagnosing everything, prescribing everything. There's people there like doctors and things, and she's just saying, "Screw you, I'm in charge." And you're not. You know, all due respect to nurses, they are fantastic. I know several, and they're amazing. But they are not doctors.
Yeah.
They are just not doctors.
Yeah. There's a lack of respect shown, I think, to her attitude towards doctors in this series. Again,
where we're at now, though,
a particularly likable person, does it?
Sorry, Amelia. I think Amelia, where we are at now is that, again, and it's just because where we're at now, it's another RTD statement in my eyes about how underpaid, how overworked, all the usual nonsense that goes on with the whole debate over the NHS.
I actually wondered. I wonder whether or not he'd had personal experience of being in hospital or something, and he's writing it into the script.
Possibly.
He's not happy, you know, because
possibly,
you know, but
maybe.
But again, it's not Doctor Who.
It's not.
This is a good point from Darren and Hembrow. Last night was a great drama in its own right, but then they tried to squeeze in Doctor Who, and the narrative became something it shouldn't have been. It was a great opportunity missed. Again, I'm going to say it. Too many nice ideas not executed properly because of the lack of a decent script editor. And RTD go blah, 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 and then this other writer coming in with and obviously this wasn't the doctor speaking and anything to this. I heard Darren. This was the writer. This was the writer's experience. The whole thing about the doctor saying he needs a community in this particular body. There's the racism, because you don't, because they seem to assume, because they're in show business and entertainment and living in a fantasy la la land where they can't even tell a man from a woman, is that everybody that doesn't agree with them or thinks like them is an ist. And it's a lie, because none of us batted an eyelid when Ncuti Gatwa was cast as a doctor. We were just glad it was a male again, and they were taking the doctor back to his roots. Yeah, you know. But no, they've had to do all this thing about because he's going to be a black one, there's going to be this and there's going to be that, there's going to be this. No, it's absolute nonsense. Captain Have Fun is. Oh, hang on. I didn't mind Rogue, says Captain Have Fun. I just thought it was weird that the plot never goes anywhere. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought it was rubbish. Go on, Amelia.
No, I was just going to say on what you were saying. I think it's actually they want to incanonize their own Doctor, their version of Doctor Who to them personally, right? So it's selfish. It's not. You're not. You're framing Doctor Who to your own emotional feelings and how you feel about things, and then trying to canonize it in the reality of the show itself. That's not how you write for a show like Doctor Who. You shouldn't be writing like that for Doctor Who. It's not about you, right? It's narcissistic at heart. I think if you should be focused on, how do I write a great story with great monsters and great characters, and you can have a message or a theme in there that you want to get across, whether it's about death or whatever you want to make it about, but that should be at the backdrop of the story. It shouldn't be the forefront of it. So ultimately, I think this writer, he's a selfish prick, really. I think that's ultimately it. He's wanted to make his version of Doctor Who in his own headcanon, his own fan fiction, That's ultimately what this is.
Well, that's what he's done, and that's what came out, because as we've said in that interview there, with the interview with him, he's created this whole life and this whole community of this doctor. Now, Inu Elams has gone out to say that when he was growing up in Nigeria, the doctor met. Fair enough. There's also other articles you can see there now where they've actually gone and found fans in Nigeria now who love the show. Hello, I hope you're finding us. What did you think of last night's episode? Because it hasn't gone down very well here in the doctor's original home of the UK. But he has. That's exactly what he's done. And that's why I think this episode will not be fondly remembered. As we said earlier, and as a lot of you said in the chat, all elements of Britishness of this show has now been erased. And I think it's because the production team are very anti-British when it comes to it. They don't like it. They just don't like it. Sliver Wolf is saying to us, you should check out the ratings for the You and Watch ratings for John Pertwee Series 3 and compare with them. Listen, we're going to try and do that. Bedwy is on the case in our ratings report. We are going to try and do that. And don't forget, everybody, the Sea Devils, of course, will be on the way on You and Eden. If you've got access to You and Eden, do watch it because we will be doing our review of the Sea Devils when that's on the telly, just like we would have done all those years ago had it been on then. Where is saying to why is it so important for Belinda to get home the same day? I have no idea. They've been back to Earth multiple times already. So what's up? Can anybody answer that?
It's something to do with the date that they can't get back to. It's one particular date.
24th of May or something.
Yeah.
Again, we made the point. Why can't they just go back to the 23rd of May? Just go at 11:50 or whatever, and bam, you're fine. Like, what was she so desperate to get back to? Or what a family is one or 2 days going to make much of it? That date going to make much of a difference?
Has it been explained? Did I miss that again? Was I again falling asleep or something?
That was early on. Was that not end of episode 1? There was a kind of indication of that with all the debris from Earth and the calendar and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Words of Critical Drinker, don't know, don't care.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
That is very, very true, isn't it? And good for him for saying that. What else we got here as well, everybody? We've got Limykins. Let's not forget that she wants to get home because she has a shift to do at work. To hell with the universe being in danger. Oh, is that the answer? There we go. And David Shaw, hey panel, why is the TARDIS turning red and humming when Belinda is in the TARDIS? Also, the Doctor hasn't met Mrs. Flood yet. Everyone else has, but not the Doctor. It sounds interesting. Has he not actually met her yet? In the 2 years.
I don't know.
Well, David's saying he can't, and he's paying attention, so he mustn't have done.
Well, they're all speculating that she could be the 16th Doctor as well. Oh God, really?
Why would that work?
I don't know, but why is it so contrived? Just write a straight story about Doctor Who and monsters and make it entertaining. Don't make it too clever. You're trying to be too clever, Russell. That's the problem.
I was trying to think though. When has he actually written something ever since 2005 that's been clever, thought-provoking, had a good monster in, and hasn't lent on something that's gone before? Even with Rose, it was riffing on Spearhead from space.
Yeah.
So we can discount that. And we've already said multiple times on different shows, all of the good stuff really in New Who hasn't been written by RTD. So what has he actually done that's been original and any good? I genuinely can't
Midnight and the Waters of Mars maybe would be exception to that. But I know the Waters of Mars were co-written with Phil Ford. But Midnight would probably on his own would probably which probably the only one you can really say, I guess.
So one.
Well, I agree, and I don't think the success of 2005 can be much to do with Russell. It's all to do with the writers around him. I think that's what made it popular. I think.
Yeah. Including Rob Sherman, who we never saw again.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrote a fantastic episode.
Yeah.
And Gareth Roberts, who wrote even more fantastic episodes.
Yep.
And he wrote
back to Gareth Roberts, who wrote fantastic episodes, and everything. But
we'll never see the likes of them again. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Who's Views Reviews. We are, of course, looking at last night's Doctor Who, which is called The Story and the Engine. One of the features we do as part of these new series reviews is we have something called the Wokeometer. Now, the Wokeometer was built for me by my Uncle Sydney at great expense. It's over there in the corner. Yes, near the hat stand with the scarf on it. Yes, it is. And my Uncle Sydney is back with us today. We are going to be looking at this. Now, what the Wokeometer does, it's this marvelous bit of AI, isn't it, Uncle Sydney? Yes, it is. Hugely expensive. Anyways, what it does is it actually has watched the episode. Yes, we forced this wonderful machine to watch the episode. It took a couple of days to recover, a couple of hours to recover, but it has watched it. It's listened to everything we've said on the chat, and it's also been looking to everything that you've been saying in the chat. And now we're going to be asking it, out of 10, how woke it thought this episode was. So if you're all ready, everybody, here we go. Uncle Sydney, push the button. Oh, turn up, everybody. Yeah. Oh. Oh, here we go, everybody. Oh, well, everybody. Oh, my goodness me.
Is it broken now?
I don't know. There is steam coming off it. I have to say, Uncle Sydney, are you all right over there? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, everybody. There you go. It was off the scale. That's because we mentioned DEI several times, everybody. Isn't it? Oh, well, if you liked it, I'm so sorry, but it was rubbish. That's Wokeometer was not wrong there. It wasn't wrong anything. Let's have a look and see what you're saying. Carwin's going boom. That's what happened. Are you all right, Uncle Sydney? You need an elastic band. We'll get you one. Yes. It's going to fix it. It's all right. We'll get some butterbean whip mixed up and we'll make it better. 1,000 out of 10, said Marjorie for that one. Oh my goodness. Rick Storm said 10 or anything less than the machine and it's broken. The Wokeometer is going to break, said Mark Greaves as it was going up there. It did. Mark Milford was saying it must be a 10. Paul Routen is saying to us, if the Valyard or the Rani were ever to be brought back, they deserve to be brought back in utter style. A blockbuster top-notch story, not some half-cocked piece of incoherent RTD crap. Sadly, it's not going to happen, is it? And I still think that it's going to be Archie, not Anita. I think it's going to be Archie, because Archie Punjabi's coming into the show. She still hasn't appeared yet.
There's lots of rumors about her being the Rani. You know, because people basically gone, oh, more anagrams. You know, Rani, rain, floods. Oh, I think that it's like, oh gosh, we've been there, done that. Oh, great.
Yeah. Well, it's all to come, isn't it, everybody? Oh, still everybody's in the chat. Look, oh, Gilliam said, oh, they broke it. And Darren's saying to us, it's so woke, it needs treatment for insomnia.
It's going to stay like that until next week as well, I think.
What's this from Azal Balagolaf? It needs less white people. Well, you couldn't make any more. Raise shield, said Mark. And the fire extinguisher would be needed, said Sliverwolf. Absolutely. What I find infuriating and quite sad, said Legion of James, actually is that there are still so many people happy to absorb all this propaganda and the lies they are being spoon-fed. And I believe the narratives they are pushing. It is sad. It is sad. I still can't figure it out myself, Legion of James, but it's why, and it has helped to contribute to this incredible division in society. And we now have, especially in show business, who have led the way and led the charge with much of this nonsense, so many problems, especially when it comes down to basic facts like a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina, which is now being questioned by these delusional idiots. It shouldn't be. It's common sense.
Every time I have to do it in the kindergarten cop, why? Like, men have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Yeah. But they question it, don't they? You know, I've had incredible rows this week with people from show business on the Stage Facebook page. And I'm always the one in the wrong because I know truth and I know common sense. You know? Honestly, they're absolutely ridiculous. Sheila B in the devotion wants to know, is Belinda in the room? Is she in the red? I don't know. Cybermat Strikes and Taran Capel has hijacked the Wokeometer to free it from human dross. I miss Jinx Monsoon, says Asbalag Golat.
Give
Yes, you didn't know you had to good.
Yeah. He'll be back. Yeah.
And Zens wants to know, can we please stop obsessing about stuff and be cool again?
That might be tricky.
It might be, yeah. I mean, not while people are nonsensical, I guess. And just Jordan's with us and has been throughout the show. Honestly, I couldn't care less who she is. I'm so bored. This is Belinda. None of this is clever now. That's something coming from you, lovely, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really. I said last night, I'm done with this now. I'm so glad I've got next week off from this crap because I don't think I could deal with it anymore. I've got an anagram. Yes, Philip, we can see that one. Hope you well.
Tish. Is it Tish?
Very similar. Yes. Yeah.
Hist.
Sith, says Domgo.
Very good. We need more clues, Phil. We need more clues.
And Whoopi Doodle Doo, it's Scott Andrew Brass says, I'm Mrs. Flood. There you go, mystery solved. We don't have to watch this shite anymore.
Well, next week from the next time trailer doesn't look any better, does it? Let's be honest.
Well, it doesn't, does it really? It really doesn't. I've got lots of you in the chat. Thank you so much. I want you to have a look at this one as well that I picked up this week. This is from Film Stories, who were looking at this. This is one of their reviews. We'll go straight into it. After a terrific few weeks, Doctor Who Season 2, calling it that still, arrives at a tale I really wanted to like, but felt it fell a reasonable way short. I hope my opinion is a minority one. It isn't, author at Film Stories, I can tell you. The story in the engine, penned by Inua Ellams, takes the Doctor and Belinda to Lagos in Nigeria. Considering the Doctor spends so much time on Earth, it's odd that his travels tend to be primarily UK-based, with the occasional trip to America and Europe. Lagos, we're told, is the best place to put the old Vortex Vindicator thing as he struggles to continue to get Belle home. And it's stories that take centre stage here, notably a barber shop that initially gives space for Gatwa's Doctor to feel a little more included. We learn it's the place where this Doctor goes when he needs a refresh, a haircut, and a feeling of being able to be a bit more included. The sequences of him walking through a bustling market, saying hello to people who treat him as a friend rather than someone they need something from, are nicely done too. It's never lost of me that Doctor Who is watched by a young audience as well as old, and conversations about race are fitting in through mainstream about race and fitting in through mainstream entertainment have impacts we never get to see. As you expect, the Doctor doesn't half-pick his barbershops, and he goes through several haircuts in one episode. His backstreet shop of choice is one where the barber has taken control. Played by Arayan Bakar, who's brilliant, the barber needs stories to provide power, no matter who tells them. He also wants to be credited for the work he's done. That's a theme that's bedded in here. And heck, it's that relevant to the current world as well. Tales told in barbershops have made for fun cinema before, notably Coming to America and the Barbershop series of movies. What Ellams does is dig into them as a home of storytelling, allowing him to settle his episode into primarily a single location. A fun one too, packed with characters who come along at 1 but won't arrive until 3. Director Michaela McPherson wrings a lot out of the room, decorating the episode with drawings that visually interpret the stories being told. Plot-wise, people are missing, we learn, but also they seem to be getting a haircut. One familiar face is Michelle Asante, who isn't new to the world of Doctor Who. Oh, really? And we get the Doctor and Belinda bonding and understanding each other more than in any other episode to date, separated too for a fair amount of time. What you don't get, though, after a promising setup, is a compelling story. The more the story in the engine pulled back to show us its greater foe, a big space spider thing, the less interesting it got for me. There are really good moments and ideas here, not least the smock the Doctor wearing in the barber's chair that restricts him. Also seeing a safe place for the Doctor becoming less safe. I loved this shop. I loved you. I thought it was a home for me is not without impact. But once the barber started talking about Norse gods, about the spider, telling us of the Nexus, the air started going out of the tyres at speed and quite quickly too. Lines land, not least the wanting to be recognised, and the sequence where a maze is cut into the Doctor's hair is a highlight, not meant as a hair gag, but I'll take it. Furthermore, feel free to show me an imagery of former Doctors in an episode, and a device at the end that looks a little TARDIS interior-like, and I'm never not wanting to see it. But we've had that a few times now, and there's some stuff here that tries to broader threads of the season of the show. As the Doctor drops in at the end of the episode, stories are leaking out and getting mixed up. That feels significant. We've had little throwaways, like Mel being in Sydney last week and Belle seeing a child that the Doctor didn't in this episode. Plus, Belinda and Mrs. Flood have crossed paths before, with the latter needing her pills. I wonder what they're for. Last week, we had the character of Conrad, who seemed to be ahead of the Doctor in terms of chronological knowledge. Mrs. Flood has always, from the first time we met her, seemed in the know. Questions again remain about what's happening and when it's happening. We're also getting name checks of Daleks, Weeping Angels, and Cybermen, the roster of hit villains that are notable by their absence from their second RTD era. 3 episodes left, and one of these is a hat tip to the Eurovision Song Contest. Are the highest profile monsters going to stay locked away? When RTD first took over Doctor Who, he deliberately held the Daleks back for the first half of the opening series, knowing it would be a fresh blast of publicity when they appeared. Is he up to something like that again? We'll know more in the weeks ahead. But for now, the story in the engine feels important, but it doesn't feel as an episode of Doctor Who particularly strong. The subtext felt, to me at least, more interesting than the text. It's a narratively ambitious piece of television that couldn't quite gel its ideas into a 45-minute television episode, but still with enough threads to pick on at a rewatch. Perhaps it's just because it's come to an end of a strong 3-episode run of stories, and I'm being a little harsh. The setting worked, the barbershop worked, and the stuff to chew on. I might go back and give it another go ahead of the incoming tonal shift as the Doctor and Belinda head off to a song contest.
Don't watch it again, you'll regret it. I did.
No.
I've just had a horrible thought. In the next episode, the Daleks are going to appear as a band, aren't they, in Eurovision? And they'll be called Genesis. There we are. Yeah.
Well, the Cybermen be doing heavy metal.
Exactly. Yeah.
That woman had a bit part in the Forest of the Night with Capaldi, apparently.
Oh, really?
All right.
Yeah, I just checked it up while you were reading that because I was curious. But apparently
The guy who was playing the character named after washing powder was an extra in Aliens of London as well.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, exciting stuff, eh?
Well, I don't know what to make of that article. Yeah, that article, Duncan is saying to us here, one thing about the map being shaved and Shooty's hair, how did you know where the starting point was? Well, I didn't even realize it was a map. It's because I was so disengaged. I didn't care by this point. All I thought is, oh, switch it off.
I thought it was very contrived, that part, didn't you? Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just daft. And everybody turned out to be the good guy, as we're saying. Everybody was redeemed, which wouldn't happen normally. Nobody died, which wouldn't happen normally. But I think that article we've just read there is, again, I think it's sitting on the fence. He didn't like it, but he didn't say he didn't like it, did he? He was, oh, this is an important episode, but come on. Was it an important episode? No. Will it be remembered in 10 years' time? No. It might be for being a racist episode, actually. It might be for being nasty. I don't know. I mean, but the article itself, I thought, was fence-sitting, quite frankly. Anyone else?
You seem to bang on a lot about the kind of setting, but you know, again, it's not a Doctor Who setting. Barbershops are not Doctor Who settings. The whole thing is not Doctor Who. He might like it personally, but you know, again, in the article, there's no Doctor Who justification for why that's a good setting and why the kind of context of the episode is a fit for this. You know, the guy who wrote it is a playwright. You can have a play set in a barbershop, and it can be wherever you want, fine, but not in a Doctor Who television series.
It might work for a Sapphire and Steel, maybe, because they had them set in things like a train station, didn't they, and stuff like that. But again, not Doctor Who. This isn't a series that's funded to be small and studio bound or anything like that, where they're having to cut costs at every corner. It should be broader scope than that. They've got the funds for it, but wasted it every single time.
Even the setting of a train station, like in that wonderful Sapphire and Steel, it's spooky, and that could work in Doctor Who because there's something. There's an alien force there that nobody knows about it. You know, there's an alien force there holding things at bay. That didn't come across in this barbershop, really. And I see what you're getting at, Ian, because the barbershop was in a different place to the outside, like the TARDIS in that sense. Yeah. It could have been, but it didn't feel claustrophobic. It didn't feel lost. It didn't feel, and again, it's literal. It had to be shown. It's on the back of a giant spider, which I still don't understand was there. Why was that there?
I don't understand that either. This is fine for play for today, but not Doctor Who. It had the potential to be like a base under siege, but there's no tension, no drama, no excitement.
There's a lot of you actually agreeing with stuff like this. We've got poor Robert Payne saying it ended with two demigods roaming around or living in Nigeria. Way to go, Shooty Who. Poor Routness saying anagrams are RTD's last vestige of feeling like he's oh so marvelous and clever, when in reality his writing is obvious, dull, and appeals to no one but 1.5 million loons. I tell you to say not that personally. Heretic is saying to us here, it's okay. Next week the bad guy is a white man with a mullet. Well,
he's the baddie. Yeah,
and he should be with a mullet. I have to tell you. Boo. And Stephen Braddock saying to us, there was no payoff. Those men have been cut off from their loved ones for 6 months. Was it 6 months? There wasn't a lot of emotion when they got out. Was it 6 months? You see, I didn't even pick that one up, Stephen, because I didn't care, quite frankly, I think. Super Lev is with us saying, well, this sounds like a right load of rubbish. I'm glad you've got that message.
What was rubbish is the fact that they get their hair cut, and the minute they come out the chair, it goes back again. That was just ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that CGI was terrible as well.
Yeah.
What about the fact that the TARDIS growing to Doctor's hair?
Yeah.
Like he admitted he doesn't actually need to go to the barber shop, does he? Then I saw on Twitter some people going, "Oh, well, this explains why Sarah Jane Smith had a different haircut from episode to episode." Like,
oh, for God's again, the literal
It was broken when Capaldi was doing it, wasn't it?
I know. This nonsense. It's a telly show. Why does everything have to be explained? What happened with people like that is they had several months off and went to get their hair done to come back. Honest to God, look at Nicola.
Peter Davison was filming All Creatures Getting Small, and that's why it kept changing.
Yes, exactly. And Nicola had 18 months off and came back with a lovely, lovely hair, didn't she? In Trial of a Time Love, for heaven's sake, to which she still got it today. Doctor Who and the Leaky Story, says Demorpin, and John Mason said Sapphire and Steel writer wrote a Torchwood episode. Did he? Is that right, Emilio?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Who divided Sapphire and Steel?
I forgot his name now.
PJ?
Yes.
PJ Hammond?
PJ Hammond did write one, yeah.
He wrote
it's the one with the fairies, isn't it? The one with the kind of
with the old lady. Yes.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to tell you all now, Who viewers. I've got them here. Can you see that? They've got them here on the box sets, right? Never watched them because I hated it. I thought it was a pile of poo. And the only reason I bought them, and this shows you how much of a fan we all can be. Guess why? The only reason I bought them because it was referenced in Doctor Who when they all came into the Stolen Earth, and I thought, oh crikey, it's canon.
Right.
So I got them for about $11.99 on an Amazon sale, and I thought, oh, I'll have that. Never watched it because I thought the first series was a load of old doggy doo-doo.
The Children of Earth's a good series. I did like that.
That was brilliant. I did like that. I did like that. Yeah. A reminder, says Robert Payne as well. The Doctor's friends in the market didn't warn him. Again, I didn't like that whole thing. I didn't like that whole thing because it was pushing this thing about, oh, he's black now, and this is the only place he can be himself. That's not the Doctor. That was the writer.
Yeah.
That was the writer.
Why would everybody in the market know him anyway?
How many times has he been there?
Again, it's all tell, don't show. Maybe if they had set the series up where you've seen him go to the barbers or go to that place a few times, then then it makes sense. But we didn't see any of it. We don't know. We didn't see any of the relationship that they talk about him saving the guy from the fire as a kid, and it's all. Why, as an audience member, should you care? You haven't invented the time and showing me that stuff. You're just telling me, and then I have to believe there's some emotional weight there to all of this.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's not when you don't get a story that you can invest time in. What's the point in having the story? And again, decent script editor next time round, please. BBC Studios. Decent production team as well that understand this little thing called Doctor Who. We're all available. You can get in touch with us at whosviews1@gmail.com. Hello and welcome to Who's Views from Harry V TV. How are you, Harry V TV? Trying to manufacture an audience by placing a song contest on Eurovision night next week is so contrived. Do you think their desperate ratings plan will work?
I'm planning on extra time in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
That would
Is
just
it going to work?
Yeah.
Is it going to
Come on,
work?
Crystal Palace.
I think where we're up to now is that this is, as I've said in our headline shows, guys, I think this is the core audience now. I think this is it. I think it's going to be around about the 1 to 1.5 million. It's not going to go up. It might go down, but I think this is the amount of people actually sitting on their bums on the night watching this thing. I think this is it. And don't forget, next week's show may not even be shown on the BBC because the guys are just saying there's this football thing going on, isn't there? What is it?
Yeah,
apparently it's called the FA Cup. Leeds aren't in it, so I clearly have no interest. But it's going ahead.
Is it? Oh dear.
Yeah.
90 minutes after boredom, JT. That's what it is.
Yeah. We've still got a lot coming up. We're going to be asking for your scores on the TARDIS doors. We're going to be playing the crying game in a minute. But seeing as a lot of you have mentioned it, what's happening next time? Ugh. It's episode 6 next week. It's the Interstellar Song Contest. We will be here on Sunday, as usual, live at 8 o'clock to review this. Now, I'm going to say to you again now, in case you don't know, I will not be watching this episode because, of course, it has been penned by the well-known homophobe Juno Dawson. I just cannot get that out of my head. I have never supported him since he started with his rants. I will not support him now. So next week's show will be doubly interesting because everybody on the panel will be telling me, as well as you, what happened in the episode. You'll be getting a 0 from me on the scores of the TARDIS doors. I can tell you that right now. But slightly different episode for you next week because I refuse to watch it. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to you guys, what you're going to find out about it and what you're going to want to say about it, etc., 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 etc. So brilliant. Thank you for that. But here we go. Yes, right now, first of all, games. It's the crying game. All right, I'm going to start with third Doctor Ian. How many times do you think Gatwa's Doctor is going to cry in the Eurovision next week?
I think he's going to overly camp it up, so probably not cry much. I'll go for the 1. I'll get the 1 in before anybody else.
Kirsty?
I am going to concur with my brother from another mother and say 1.
Paul?
I have to pay attention because I missed the one last week, to be fair, on Saturday, so I must be really bored. So
and he watched it twice.
I know, and I missed it twice. So
he just doesn't care. Just doesn't care.
Yeah, so it probably, I think he might cry more because there's bound to be some really moving songs he'll cry to. So I'm going to say 3.
The Brotherhood of Man, they'll be in it.
Yeah.
3 from Paul and Emilio.
Well, he'll cry when he sees Rylan, and then he'll cry probably at the end. So I'm going to go 2.
You're going to go 2. Oh my goodness. Okay. And I'm, of course, not watching it, so I won't be voting in this particular one. Let's move on to our next game now.
Can you not still guess, though, and we can tell you how many?
Yeah, go on.
Go on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say...
involved.
I'll say twice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll sell twice. Go on, then. I'll be crying just because of who wrote the bloody thing, and the BBC's and RTD's blatant, oh, that didn't happen, head and sand moment. The big one for us now, it's time for the ratings game. Okay then, everybody, so as usual, what we do here with the rating, if you want to play along in the chat, put your ratings in now. I will look at them after the show because there's a lot of you with us. We'll be here till midnight. I was reading them all out, but if you want to play along, please do. We'll start on this one with Emilio, Time Lord Victorious. So this week, the story and the engine, as we know, got 1.5 million on the overnights. We only look at the overnights if you're new to the channel. Higher or lower, Emilio?
I'll go slightly lower. I'm going to say 1.4 million. I do think, with listen to Bedwy's analysis, I do think the overnights will stay relatively around the 1.4, 1.5 mark, but we are seeing a drop in the consolidated 7-day rating, and I think that will continue. There'll be less people wanting to catch up on this. I think the people that want to see it will watch it bums on seat. So yeah, I think it will be a little bit down, but I expect a bigger drop in the +7.
Paul?
Now, I was very tempted to go with the football idea and the fact they get no ratings at all and really push the boat out. So I'm going to say 0 for a laugh. I never get right anyway, so go for 0. Yeah.
But it could happen.
It could, so I'm
happen.
going for that. Okay, yeah.
If the
He'll
footy
still
ball-
watch it twice.
I'm not watching this one twice, that's for sure. Yeah.
He says
It
that.
could happen. If the footy ball runs over, Doctor
Yeah.
Who may not make it to BBC One. It could be the lowest rated episode ever because it will rely purely on the iPlayer. Kirsty, lady of the chat, what are you going for, lovely?
I am going to go with 1.42, that if we've got Eurovision and the football, and if the weather remains how well it's been, that people are going to be watching the football or having Eurovision parties and getting sloshed and just leaving their TV on. So it's still going to be low, but it's not going to be enough to save them.
Kirsty's going 1.42. And Dr. Ian, what are you thinking of the ratings game for next week?
I think there'll be a proportion of the people that watched this week and saw what an absolute barrel of horse shit it was that they will switch off. And I will say 1.28.
Always so specific. Ian is going for 1.28. Everybody. I won't be watching it, as you know, making it clear. But I agree with Paul. I don't think it's going to get anything because I don't think it's going to happen. I've just got this feeling that the footy ball being this thing called the Far Cup final. Fancy.
Stephen Braddock said in the chat I might get the hostess trolley. I hope that's an offer next week then.
You never know what you could have won on this.
Yeah.
I will tell you.
I was hoping for the speedboat next week, but there you are.
I'm going to go for a 0 as well. So let's see what happens with that. Lots of you in the chat with your ratings there. Legion of James saying ratings. I think it might possibly go higher, sadly, if TVs are left on from the footy board to the Eurovision, but I sincerely hope not. Cara Hughes was saying low. I'd say a 1.3. Benign Crinoid is saying 18 million because he's obviously had a drink. Some of you saying, like Jason Parker, saying 0 because it won't be on. It all depends on the footy ball, doesn't it?
If TVs are left on in pubs and things like that, then you won't see the fluctuation over 10 and 15 minute gaps, will you? Because it'll just be TVs are left on. So that would be a pointer, I think.
Yeah. I can't wait to find out next Sunday. Stay with us if you are on Instagram. Follow us on our Instagram. If you're on Facebook, come and follow us on our Facebook because we post it there as soon as we get the email. That was the ratings game, everybody. Didn't they do well? And the fun on Who's Views doesn't stop there because now it's time for your scores on the top. Okay, so start putting your scores on the TARDIS doors into the chat. I'll go through some of them before we finish the show this evening. Put score and then 8 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 or whatever you're going to give the story and the engine. Let's have a recap as where we're up to here on the channel. The Robot Revolution got 12.5 out of 50. Lux got 9.5 out of 40. The Well got 27 out of 50. And Lucky Day got 16 out of 60. I'm looking at that, just realizing that Lucky Day was only last week. It seems like weeks ago.
Yeah.
It seems like weeks ago, doesn't it? It's absolutely shocking. All right, then, everybody. So I'm going to start with Paul. What's your score on the TARDIS door for this pile of crap that was on last night?
Well, I think more than qualified than most because I watched it twice. Can I give it 2 zeros? Is that okay? Yeah. I hated this episode with a vengeance, and I did watch it twice. It was so unengaging. Even the flashbacks couldn't encourage me to want to enjoy it. It was awful. 0. In fact, 0 because I watched it twice. Yeah.
0 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay, then Amelia, what's your score on the TARDIS door for this, please?
I'm going to agree with Paul. It's a 0 from me, and I normally like to try and give things, praise if I can see any praise, and there's 0 praise to be given with the horse crap that professes itself to be called Doctor Who when it isn't Doctor Who. Nothing about this episode was Doctor Who. It's a disgrace. I'm just going to leave it like that.
Well, you see, you're usually quite an angelic little boy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm quite angry. Yeah, I think this one riled me up probably the most. which is really surprising, I guess. But yeah, it riled me up in all the wrong ways. I think just the messaging on it's a evasive message. Nothing for me resembled Doctor Who. It's exposition heavy. Nothing interesting. I wanted to switch off after 25 minutes, and then never. I actually haven't. I think the only time I felt like that was when the whole time of child story arc happened in Jodie's era, that I actually wanted to switch off after 25 minutes. Normally, I can have the patience to sit through an episode even if I dislike it. But yeah, if it wasn't for the review show, I literally would have just
same.
stopped.
Yeah. I'm the same. Thank you everybody for putting this in. Where are we up to? Dan Tails 84. Welcome to Who's Views. It's nice to see you. Saying, please can we have Daleks with robot spider legs? No. Now, it was an interesting idea in the 90s. That's what the American side of Doctor, wasn't it, Paul? They were talking about it. They didn't look
Spider
that
Daleks are called, yes.
Yeah, they didn't look that good there anyway. All right then, where am I going to now? Sorry, Amelia, you're giving it a 0, aren't you?
Yeah.
Kirsty, what are you giving this?
I'm giving it a 1 because I found it quite funny when they stretched Jodie's face out, and also at the very beginning they played a song that I quite like. So yeah, 1.
1 out of 10 from Kirsty for this pile of crap. Okay, well done. That's really good for stretching Jodie's face out. I'm never going back to watch it to find out. Never. Okay, and that's Third Doctor Ian.
I hated this. It was a bucket of pig jizz. It really was.
He's from Yorkshire, everybody.
Sorry, I just could not find anything even vaguely accidentally redeemable about it. Once again, racism and white people bad and all this bollocks. I'm absolutely sick of it. I'm going to give it a 0, but I also feel so angry about it. I want to take away all the points I've given the previous episodes, but I know I can't. I know I can't. So, I wish, but okay. I will just stick with a 0.
This particular episode is going to be scored out of 50, and so far it's scored 1 out of 50. And I'm not going to make it any better. It gets a big fat 0 from me as well. This was the most racially discriminatory, boring, dull, insulting, insufferable piece of propaganda I've witnessed since the last one. Not Doctor Who, and he's not the Doctor. Yeah. R.I.P. Doctor Who. Let's go into the chat and say Lex Kane has given it a 1 out of 10 just to see John Pertwee's face was not Doctor Who. Time close shot BBC on Doctor Who. I'm like JT. Well, God help you. I want to end for the time being. I miss the true Time Lord and the alienness of Doctor Who. Austin has given it 3. Rick Storm said, I've already said, I've given it 0.00000. Yeah, thank you. Marjorie has given it 2 out of 10. Noel, 1 out of 10. Paul Rose, I've not watched it yet, but it sounds like a 3. Really? PTA is saying -10 zillion. Digital Pollution, I didn't finish scoring rubbish, so -1. 4 out of 10 from David Shaw. Thank you, David. Matthew is giving it 0. Wrestling reviewer Dan, hello, Daniel, 0. Oh, dear Lord, says Domgo. Of course, it's 0. Goodness me. Jane Smee has given it 5 out of 10. Thanks, Jane. Thanks for your honesty. Woodhouse 1221, just for the spider effects. That went over my head as well. Lee Smith, that's RTD2's tactic. People think it's the Eurovision. As many of you have pointed out, the Bog Vanish have done this before. We keep getting that loss.
Yeah.
That's where he gets his ideas from sometimes. Robert Payne is saying 2 out of 10. 9 out of 10, but not enough crying, says the Azza logo laugh. Methinks you're taking the pee a little bit, but Jolene.
I do hope so.
Julianne is saying 0 out of 10. Julianne, of course, very busy this weekend touching grass. 4 out of 10 from Lee Smith. It was bloody awful, says Paul Schlafter. 2 out of 10, and that's me being generous, very generous. In preempt of next week, nil point from Craig Dunlop. Armour Ray is saying 2, as always, for the crew and their work, and 0 for RTD and his DEI poison. The Carcass is giving it 3 out of 10. Oh, you sound like someone from Clash of the Titans, the original one, which is much better. Carwin is saying scores on the doors. As I previously mentioned, unfortunately, the hinges have been bust. The doors have come off and a bus has driven over them. Now score on the splinters and it's 0. Oh, your poor door. Oh, bless it. Oh, Did it get the Belinda-style treatment while it was in hospital? I don't know. My captain is saying 0.5 out of 10 for some of the pretty drawings on the wall. And Stuart Barham is saying 1, and that's just for the cool-looking hair clippers with the engraved handle, now available at Argos. 0 out of 10, sod all, said Hugh Janus. And Darkhall giving it with minus 1,000. Philip is giving it 1 out of 10, just purely for the classic Doctors on the TV screen. As Paul said, though, didn't really have the magic this time around.
No.
Duncan the Funky Evans, I refuse to rate this. # justice for Sylvester McCoy. Absolutely. Score 0 from Julia Chiverton. And Robert Payniston, I pre-give next week's episode 0 out of 10. What are you doing to me? Limekins, 0 out of 10. Benny didn't die on Orphan 55 for this. Okay. Legion of James, the scores 0 out of 10. It's not Doctor Who, but I'm giving a personal 10 out of 10 for John Pertwee's face on the screen. John Mason, 0 out of 10. Racism never gets my vote. John, 2 out of 10 for the idea of stories powering something. The TARDIS is now in siege mode, says Austin Woods.
I
think I missed that. Is that the bit where it goes red then?
I think it must be, yeah.
So they explain. You watched it twice and you still missed it. Kev Gresham said 0 out of 10. And Sliver Wolf is saying 0, definitely. Farsight is giving it a 0. Raymond is saying this is not Doctor Who, 2 out of 10. 0 out of 10, Despicable Bollocks, said Mike Disney. And Philip Roy saying 2 out of 10. I couldn't say any of the Gatwa era, although hugely flawed, has bored me, but this one did. Really? Are you taking the pee? A score of 0 out of 10. Space Babies, Phil. Score of 0 out of 10, said Richard Brooks. And Total Hogwash, said Celia B in the Devotions. Hogwash, that reminds me of Tegan. 0 out of 10. Minus 1 out of 10, says Derek Hart. Sorry, missed the show due to being in Blackpool. Oh, I hope you've had a lovely day in Blackpool. Did you see my friend Paul? Oh, bless. Marine Boy 1966. Truth is, nobody knew what was going on in last night's episode, not even the writer, who was making it up as he went along, hoping it would all make sense, and in the end, it didn't. And Julianne is saying it must be bad if Emilio is pissed. Yeah. It's true. It's true, because he's usually quite nice, isn't he? We've got here from Jason saying, no rating at all. There was nothing redeeming from this. It's the last fake Doctor Who episode I will be putting myself through. Nothing is left of Doctor Who. It's dust, it's done, it's over. Don't forget to come back and stay with us, though. How many more episodes have we got? 3?
3.
Yeah. So Rosie Mead is with us, not seen it, but it sounds awful. It was. Don't bother with it. It's awful. Stephen Braddock has given it 0 out of 10. The most pretentious, offensive pile of unintelligible horse shit I've ever had the misfortune to see. I hated it with a passion and an anger, which has lasted right up until now. Well, I hope you've...
Don't hold back, Stephen. Don't hold back.
Oh, yeah. Come down from that fence. Listen, I hope you've had a couple of hours here therapy listening to all of us as well, Stephen, because you know where we are. It's Paul Rose is saying, wow, it sounds worse than I thought. I guess it'd be down to 1 out of 10. And Mrs. Lisa Pertwee is saying, I'm with you, Emilio. And look, she's got little kisses for you. Ooh. Derek, yeah, you should be jealous. Derek Hart is saying, to be honest, I fell asleep while watching it. Well, yeah. Legion of James saying, stretching Jodie's face out. We love you, Mrs. Lady, for the chat.
I love you.
Bundy 4077 is because I'm a troll on the World Wide Web, the same as next week's episode is 0. Let's see, any more from any more in the chat, everybody? Let's have a look.
Lee Smith says Juno says hold my pint.
Pint, please. Cybermat Strikes is also saying 0. Oh, and I'm not reading that out because that's vile. -3 from Gav B. And 0 out of 10 from Dalek Lives Matter. I can't salvage anything from the slog. Skibbity is saying -1 out of 10. How unnecessary. 5 out of 10 from Moriarty. I looked past the racism. Well, I'm glad I can't. I'm fed up of being hammered over the head, and I've only been watching 2 years of this crap and 3 episodes the year before. God knows how you've all managed through the Chibnall era, and then this on top of it. You must all need some sort of therapeutic island together. Oh, let's phone Danny Minogue and see what she can do. Armour Ray, 10 out of 10.
That's the most infuriating thing. Children won't do it. RTD says, we're targeting, 6-year-olds. You're teaching 6-year-olds that you can only connect to people that look like you.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. His messaging is nasty, isn't it? It's nasty. You're in the wrong body. You've got to have people around you that are the same color. You've got to not like this religion. You've got. Oh, this is what the far left is like. They're the problem in the world. Oh, Amare was giving it 10 out of 10 there and said, oh, actually, he was talking about Caves of Androzani. And Peter Venkman Fansite was talking 0 out of 10 because, let's face it, I saw it coming. Tony Graydon, nice to see you. If Doctor Who ever gets back on track, the amount of lantern hanging will be off the scale. Oh, yeah. And there's that one from Lee Smith that you were talking about there. 0 out of 10 from Sean Butterworth. I can't do this anymore. Stay with us, Sean. As soon as this crap's over and done with, we'll be going back to proper Doctor Who. Come on. Great to see you, though, Sean. Stay with us. Braveheart. I got that on the t-shirts as well. Anyone else? Tyler Durden Smile. I didn't watch it because I was smoking. I mean, touching grass. Yeah, I think the production team may have been. Yes. Anyway,
that's not the best way to watch it, I'd imagine. Yeah. Or drunk, anyway. Yeah.
Whoopie Doodle Do. It's got Andrew Brass. 3 more episodes to go. Frigging hell. And Austin Wood said 2 out of 10. Point off for showing the fugitive Doctor. Rob is saying shite.
I'm with Rob. Yeah.
Oh goodness me. And joining us in the chat is BBB Productions Bill Baggs. Hello, Trouble. How are you? Reckon Poppy is the timeless child. The Doctor taught themselves their own morals in Space Babies.
Wouldn't put it past RTD.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put it past them. Bill
Baggs now everywhere in the world. He's available nowadays. I've seen you at conventions in America. Yeah, very good. Zero says Steve Hinley. And Mark Milford saying 0 for the story and 10 for proving a rich white man can still get away with promoting bigotry and prejudice. Ooh, heavy stuff tonight, guys. But this is exactly what they've put into the show, so we're going to talk about it, aren't we? They don't like it when we talk about it, but there you go. No. Thank you for the therapy, says Steve Braddock. You're very welcome, mate. You are very welcome. Anything else? Any more there? Marine Boy 66, 1.3, only because Eurovision fans will have it on during their Euro parties. Oh, that's for the ratings game. Okay. Listen, I'm going to give it I'm going to call it there, everybody. I'm going to call it there. Wow, another big review show. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this review of The Story and the Engine. It will never be reviewed or looked at again on this channel. What a load of old crap.
Thank God. That means I don't have to watch it for a third time. Thank God for that.
Well, that's exactly it.
I bet it will anyway.
I will. I won't tell you, though. I will sneak off after this.
He loved it so much.
Yeah.
And he'll be getting it on Blu-ray, I'm sure. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, next week it is the the Interstellar Song Contest. So come back and join us next Sunday at 8 o'clock when the panel will be telling me what I didn't miss. I'm so excited about that. A little bit of difference for us. I can't wait to hear what they thought about it. And of course, I cannot wait to hear what you all thought about this one, written by well-known homophobe Juno Dawson. It was a matter of time before he reared his ugly head in this show. And here we go. Lots coming up for you in the next week. If you need to actually have some fun after this diabolical piece of propaganda, we'll be back tomorrow, Monday night, live at 8 o'clock with another in our Carry On shows. We're going to be reviewing Carry On at your convenience. Come and join us. Come and have a laugh as we celebrate this British classic. I can't wait. Headlines will also be across the week, so make sure you've subscribed to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you are still subscribed. If you're new to us, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give us a subscription. From Third Doctor Ian, Kirsty, Emilio, Paul, and myself, absolutely delighted that you joined us tonight. I hope you're all right. I hope you're going to get through it. We're going to have a laugh. We will see you.
Of course we are. Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow for Carry On at your convenience. Until then, like us on our Facebook as well. Join us on our Instagram. We'll see you soon. Good night, everyone. Take care. Ta-ra.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right.